about 79 days now. And one of the things that we're going to be talking about is, I know that you've seen many polls, but this very latest one, SPM, which says that the NDC will be winning the elections in 11 regions. Now, there are 16 regions. This report or survey is predicting that the NDC will be winning in 11 regions. The Ashanti region, which is the vote bank of the NPP, will be seeing a reduction in the votes because in 2020 they had about 72%. Well, this survey or this poll is predicting a 70%, around 70% victory for the NPP in the Ashanti region. But the bottom line is this said report says that the election will land in a runoff between the two parties. So we're likely to go for a second round. That is what it says. But I have seen other surveys say otherwise, that there is no way that the election is going to get into a runoff. There's going to be a one-time winner, and that is going to be GHOne Mahama of the NDC. I've seen other polls also say that the NPP is going to win. But you know what? December 7 is coming. You get to decide who you want to lead you, and that's something that we must all get involved in. This morning I will be playing a report by my colleague and news editor Mrs. Alice Ainin on what Galamsey has done to water, especially with a special focus in the central region and the western regions. Remember, some few weeks ago, about a month ago, there was this SOS message statement that was released by the Ghana Water Company that the company is able to produce only about 25% of the water that it would have ordinarily produced because the River Pra, which is a main source of water, has been polluted so much. And so Alice went to Cape Coast, did a special report. We'll be bringing that report to you on Inside Out, and I'd like to hear from you on what your thoughts are after you've watched the video. But yeah, like we always do, I'll bring you the quote of the day, I'll bring you the word of the day, then I'll bring you the video of the day. We'll tell you what's in the newspapers. If there's time, we'll look at courts today, and then my guest will join me. Today, we'll discuss what I told you. 2 days ago, we all witnessed the Enough is Enough demonstration by the NDC in all the 16 regions of Ghana with a huge turnout, asking the Electoral Commission to produce or make available the voters register for an independent forensic audit. Well, the EC says they have received the petition and they will communicate in the coming days. We'll look at that. We'll look also at the report that I told you, the survey that I told you, which says that this election will run into or will get into a runoff. We'll discuss that also. And there appears to be some growth in our economy, but how reflective is that on the ground? The bread and butter issues of the ordinary Ghanaian, of you and I, are you seeing the changes? Are you seeing it reflective in if the economy is doing well? We'll discuss that when the guests join me. And of course, we have other conversations coming up as well. There's a group called the Young Professionals Business Network. This Saturday, they're organizing a health walk and also a networking session and product exhibition. We'll be having a conversation with them. And then Oliver Bakavobawo, who is the convener of the Democracy Hub, wants to demonstrate from the 21st to the 23rd. Well, police has received an injunction to stop them from demonstrating, especially on the basis of the route that they have chosen. They want to demonstrate in front of the Jubilee House. Well, police, according to the court documents that we have cited, that there's an injunction placed on that. But we see another report or statements on Facebook by the police that they're ready for the demonstration. So what exactly is happening? Well, the convener of the group, Oliver, will be joining us on the show today, and we'll get some answers, and we'll have other conversations as well. So you're welcome. Let's get interactive like we always do. You can tweet at me on X using the hashtag GHToday. You can tweet at GHOne TV, or you can tweet personally at me at Serwaa Amihere. We're live on Facebook also, and we're live on X. We're live on YouTube. And so if you're leaving home, don't worry at all. You can have us with you on your mobile phone, because you can access us on any of these platforms that I have spoken about. You're welcome to the show once again. If today's your birthday, a big happy birthday to you. If you know anyone who is celebrating their birthday, please wish them a happy birthday. But you can send in your wishes along with their, pictures and messages, and I'll read them live on air for you. You're welcome. I am Serwaa Amihere. Let's begin with our quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is by Thomas Edison, and he says, "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." Every morning when we bring you the quote of the day is because we want to motivate you, because we know how life can get sometimes. So quote of the day, motivation, you can call it, by Thomas Edison, and it reads that our greatest weakness lies in giving up. Please, no matter what you do, don't give up. Try one more time, at least just this once. I know that sometimes life can be very overwhelming, and you think, and it happens to all of us, it happens to me, I know that it happens to you sometimes as well, but just try one more time. And that is our word and message for you today. Let's bring you our word of the day.
The word we have for you today is A-F-O-O-T. Again, A-F-O-O-T, afoot. It's an adjective. Afoot means happening or being planned or prepared. Example, there are plans afoot to rename the company. Afoot.
And there is our word of the day. Let's now bring you our video of the day. water, the very good one. You hear it a lot during award shows. It's one of the nicest and greatest export, Ghanaian music ever. Anyway, so that's our video of the day. It's time now for Inside Out. Morning, I told you that the conversation about Galamsey hasn't ended. Probably won't end anytime soon because we still don't know what we're doing. There's a committee we know that is going to be set up to investigate and find, a probable solution to the issue of Galamsey. But its devastating effects is still with us. Yesterday, I saw a very heartbreaking video of 3 children stuck in some Galamsey pit or mud in some area. And I was so sad because there were so many questions on my mind. How did they get there in the first place? And for how long are we going to continue to let this happen? Doctors tell us that children are getting strange diseases, cancers, even adults, because we're drinking water from polluted water bodies or from polluted water from areas where this Galamsey menace is on the high or on the rise. Well, about 3 weeks ago or a month ago, the Ghana Water Company Limited told us that if we do not take care, we may have to be importing water because in the central region and the western region, they are unable to produce the capacity of water that ordinarily they would have produced. My colleague and news editor Alice Aite went to the central region and has filed this report. Let's take a look at it.
It begins with a trickle, if it comes at all. In Serwaa, a small town in Ghana's central region, water, once abundant, is now a precious, fleeting hope. Meet Ajwa Tetewa, a 90-year-old grandmother who, like her neighbors, has been anxiously watching her taps, wondering when or if water will flow again. The Ghana Water Company says nearly 60% of this catchment area is clogged with silt, leaving raw water sources inconsumable. This is because illegal mining activities have devastated the Serwaa water treatment plant, cutting off clean water to Serwaa and several other communities in the central region. Ghana, a major gold producer, is grappling with severe environmental challenges from illegal artisanal mining. While large-scale operations have permits, many small-scale miners do not, causing significant damage to water sources. Many taps in this area have become rusty due to prolonged disuse. But when water does flow, it's only once a week, often at midnight. Residents must stay awake to collect what they can before it stops. Private water vending stations often lead to chaotic scenes, with tempers flaring as residents compete for the scarce resource.
We will be sick. The cholera will come inside our stomach.
For several months, residents of Serwaa in the Lantam municipality have faced severe water shortage, forcing them to rely on this contaminated water source. While it may seem like a lifeline, it's actually a deadly trap. The water is slowly poisoning adults and children alike, causing irreparable damage to their health. Women and children now trek for kilometers from Serwaa to this abandoned sand mine, their only available water source. Despite the visible dirt and pollution, they collect it, knowing it is unfit for consumption.
But there's not yet those Kuyan for going to there. If you don't make sure Tony about Saddam and CB do go. Out of him put away you the my students now, any the body is true. And so on the mic. Or they HM 1 hour fit town had day now. When you miss the sun and Caswabana was so may. Not when I done so in 2 class and this water. Some people use it for cooking, washing, drinking, for anything. So when we doesn't come here, we not get water.
She said, "So why they quack the ben? And I believe the beno, yet they won't tell it be bogal. And Bobo so my day, you know, name, you can take it on my farmer. Say, behind pay for the boom, a whole honeyana, no more farmer to sell, bed no waka."
Experts say chemicals like mercury and cyanide from illegal mining and industrial activities contaminate water, air, and soil, which produce serious health risks.
And then what bank kitty be wom to before I send the bag grab from another baby. I just say a heat. It is Sijaduma, the Mumboban will before and Sana, the grab from her. I am a man before knowing never say. Young for me now, what about to talk a career and you might be basabasa. One of the moons now, my family will use what we're going into. See, Monsieur the Yellow Brown, until upon a chopper. Or the Yellow Mamma. Yalvan got him, the be I am of made one polyclinic. Yes, I want to be a bassa. Hospital to a jaw. It was going to Canabia in Yarasa.
As communities seek alternative sources, they often end up with those contaminated with bacterial pathogens like typhoid. Dr. Maxwell Mante is the medical director at the Serwaa Polyclinic, which serves over 7,000 people. He says typhoid has become the second most common illness in the area.
They usually present with abdominal problems, which eventually we diagnose as typhoid and then malaria. So our top 2 diseases here are typhoid fever and then malaria. We had the opportunity to speak to some of their opinion leaders, their chiefs and some assembly members, and then we raised this issue. So we advise them that they should desist from drinking from polluted waters. They should at least take pipe-borne water, which is at least treated. And then the open defecation problem, we urge the assembly members to especially take keen interest in that.
The Ghana Water Company has warned that if illegal mining is not kept, more treatment plants, including the Trifuhiman, may have to shut down. The government is now under mounting pressure to find a permanent solution to the illegal mining crisis, or could pay the price politically.
Momo 1 year. No senior politics in the Emimabe. Listen, woman, I mean, yard now, and ya, other than Macano, Mifilo Gumaba Nofi, Lemin Tumunka. I want you now, Naomi. And see, Mrs. there, and paying for 2 and more now. Sagalamis all the Sada, in Game 1 year, by 1 year, another 2 years, young Shredder. Sagalamis all the sense now. You won't say all the sense now.
Mr. Abinde, Sisiano, and ask some in some would be one. Oh, yeah, dear, my baby. Yes, Cheyenne to me and quite sensitive and coffin soon and farm, but I have more than I say, into your sir by there, quite about for dying, so you're being so. Now, I am near the bay, I don't know, yes, sir, but breeder on wine. Oh, you are parliament, why, sir, what can I want to now go father? They're upon a chamber, and so my young way. I know what about me, one kind of feel parliament, so I bear brains, man, what was I poor, and you see about grab a go back to the 1 brain, so young to I bet. You're going to get him say, and so
Me abata na was what to pipe. Me abata na was what to pipe. Nsu ehu baby a ofi nya biwa na ye mepo. Nti ye hu de galamse no le say another day. Se galamse na so le say na aba na nka so nhwe no ye mo be na ye so ye hunte. Nti say the minsu se me dan wa me edwuma aye basa.
6 months na yenye nsumpu na yeda ho ye mafuma won mafuma luko school a na mafuma kakama okita galams na wona mokwa ho na ebimpu kale bobbo wona ye hia won nti asampanyufo da won hyan papa won che we hwa biri wona ye hia to aba galams say no oboto ofiga na mpanyufo won tu so ofiga na mpanyufo nti mo ba ya afa ho a galams say wo beja atu ma ye nsu papa ya no ma ye tumi ye nya ho de ye da to aba ma wan ga se ya pa adwuma ma won ye ma ye.
Calls are growing for an immediate ban on illegal mining and increased enforcement of regulations for legal operations. Community-led initiatives to restore and protect local water sources are also being encouraged, but until then, the people of Briwa, including Ajwa, the children and the thousands who depend on its dwindling water supply, will continue to pay a heavy price just to quench their thirst. Alice Aite, GHOne News.
Right, so that was a report by Alice Aite for GHOne News on the devastating effect of galamsey on our water bodies and what we are seeing now, especially in the Cape Coast and Western, in the central and western regions. We'll be discussing this more a little later, but yes, coming up now, we have other segments, and Lantam is on with me now. Lantam, you're welcome. Let's now bring you what's on the newspapers.
Opens new office at Bibiani. Voters register Bruhaha. Table audit demand at IPAC. That's according to Cordeo. And high medication cost makes cancer death sentence. That's according to Dr. Kome. So the economy has also grown by 6.9% for the second quarter. And real GDP value real GDP value is also going up significantly. So that's there on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper.
The Daily Guide newspaper is next. Our roads record unparalleled. That's according to the Roads Minister, Asenso Boachi. On 2024 elections, Bawumia pushes for ideas and not insults. Minister opens 16 public employment centers. Health infrastructure investment remarkable. This is according to Dr. Okoboy, who is Minister for Health. And CBG refutes sell rumors. I'm sure that you have seen the news that has gone viral that CBG has been sold. Well, CBG says it has not been sold. And that's it for the Daily Guide.
On the Daily Post newspaper, down memory lane, engage independent body to audit the register. Taking you back to when Jean Mensa was the boss of the IEA, and there were calls for a new register, there were calls for an audit of the register. There's a statement from the IEA when she was the head of the IEA indicating that, in fact, the EC should do an independent audit, to get an independent body to audit the register. So it's very interesting that the same person who was calling for an independent audit of the register in 2015. That's October 28, 2015. Is the same person who is now at the helm of affairs at the Electoral Commission. She's been called on to do an independent audit of the register, and the story is different. It's very interesting. Anyway, election 2024 forensic audit of voters register is for Ghanaians. IDEC and others tell the EC. And the voters register is bloated. That's according to Dr. Arthur Kennedy. So that's it for the Daily Post newspaper.
And now let's look at the Chronicle newspaper. Baumire's solemn pledge: I'll install 50,000 anti-crime cameras across Ghana. And Nana Baumire achievement in the road sector is incomparable. This is according to the Minister for Roads, Asenso Boakye. Minerals Commission inaugurates new office at Bibiani. And today's Bible verse in the Chronicle newspaper is from Numbers chapter 30 verse 2. If a man vows a vow to the Lord or swears an oath to bind himself by a pledge, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Okay. CBG denies sale of the bank. Yeah.
Well, on the dispatch this morning, profiles of the 21 men and women contesting the December 7 presidential elections. There seems to be a record number of independent presidential aspirants picking up forms to try and contest in this year's election. How the NDC supporters vandalized EC office in Kumasi during their demonstration. We have been transparent with Ghanaians, EC's Bosman Asare. How Mahama insulted chiefs, clergy and imams for supporting the NPP. Okay, that's the Daily Dispatch newspaper.
And moving on to the Daily Statesman, government has invested heavily in health infrastructure. NPP urges electorates to embrace Baumire's innovative policies, and economy records fastest growth in 5 years. But what is the effect of this in your pockets? That's the question that we are all asking. Ekufado's record in road sector unmatched. Asenso to Mahama, and the Minerals Commission opens an ultra-modern office at Bibiani. Okay.
On the new crusading guide, it says Deputy Trade Minister calls for strong economic ties with Spain. EC promises credible, robust voters register. Bole MP beats war drums in Savannah region. Confusion rocks Ada over botched National Libation Day celebration. Digitalization is a key to Ghana's development. That's according to Ursula Wusu. An MPP criticizes Mahama for attacking chiefs. So that's it for the new proceeding guide.
And finally, the Insights newspaper. Ghana's new AI-driven skills portal set to revolutionize education and workforce development. And how America's CIA killed over 6 million and destabilized governments across the world. Nigeria and the liberation struggles for Western Sahara. Arise Ghana descends on judiciary over delays in LGBTQ plus case, postpones family values protest to October. Well, as it stands, the Superior Courts were to hear this case. They're on legal vacation anyway. So, yeah, that's the latest on the courts. And by the end of the month, the legal vacation will be over. And all of these issues can come up again. But that'll be it for the newspapers, right?
Yeah, that'll be it for the newspapers. We'll take a short break here. When we return, the breakfast review will be on. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In Serwaa, a small town in Ghana's central region, water, once abundant, is now a precious, fleeting hope. Meet Adwoa Tetewa, a 90-year-old grandmother who, like her neighbors, has been anxiously watching her taps, wondering when or if water will flow again.
Ye bia ubu tia asasi bia obo tia otwen buru wofa ne mo egapaza insigina manche bi na munye mo fama bi sha.
The Ghana Water Company says nearly 60% of this catchment area is clogged with silt, leaving raw water sources inconsumable. This is because illegal mining activities have devastated the Serwaa water treatment plant, cutting off clean water to Serwaa and several other communities in the central region. Ghana, a major gold producer, is grappling with severe environmental challenges from illegal artisanal mining. While large-scale operations have permits, many small-scale miners do not, causing significant damage to water sources. Many taps in this area have become rusty due to prolonged disuse. But when water does flow, it's only once a week, often at midnight. Residents must stay awake to collect what they can before it stops.
Ya mafama wati bi ha ka do ihe mesafi ya kasa da du nsu a ya de bebo entumpo enfa bi nhuro ya asi ya da efu nsu ni mbaba hote idinsu guasa baka da hyeso no mo hyesia da moko nsu mu nti ya bre nsu wudu ya bre nsa abi o mo hwe.
Private water vending stations often lead to chaotic scenes with tempers flaring as residents compete for the scarce resource.
We will be sick. The cholera will come inside our stomach.
For several months, residents of Serwaa in the Lantam municipality have faced severe water shortage, forcing them to rely on this contaminated water source. While it may seem like a lifeline, it's actually a deadly trap. The water is slowly poisoning adults and children alike, causing irreparable damage to their health. Women and children now trek for kilometers from Serwaa to this abandoned sand mine, their only available water source. Despite the visible dirt and pollution, they collect it, knowing it is unfit for consumption.
But there's not yet those Kuyanyan for going to there. If you don't make it on your Sadam and CB do go. Out of being put away, you the my students now, any the bonny is true. And so on the mic. Or they HM 1 hour fit town had day now, when you miss the sun and Casabana or Bassau May. Not when I dam so in 2 men class and
this water, some people use it for cooking, washing, drinking, for anything. So when we doesn't come here, we not get water.
She said, so why they quack the ben. On a bloody edibano, ya de wonya, a people got, and Bobo so my day, you know, name, a kita my farmer. Say, behind pay for the boom, a whole honor, no more farmer no sell, bed no waka.
Experts say chemicals like mercury and cyanide from illegal mining and industrial activities contaminate water, air, and soil, which produce serious health risks.
You're welcome back to the show. This is GH Today. I am Serwaa Amihere. Coming up now is the breakfast review. I'm joined in the studio by Philemon La Esquire. He's a member of the NDC's communications team. We're expecting a representative of the NPP who is not here, but we'll start with the show. So 2 days ago, the NDC held its Enough is Enough demonstration in all the 16 regions of Ghana, asking the Electoral Commission to produce or make available the voters register for an independent forensic audit. Well, the EC, after the NDC presented its petition to them, released a statement, said that they had received the petition and they will come out with their response later. But they are committed to producing a very credible register for the 2024 elections. And we also have Dr. Ezekiel Ejekumo. He's a member of the NPP's communications team, who is late, by the way, but it's okay. Yes, you're late because we would have started a while ago, but we're waiting a little bit.
It's not okay. It's not okay. That's the same way they are running the governance of this country. It's the same way they are leading this country. So we can't just say it's okay when government officials who are supposed to come and face the people on accountability, they are late and we say it's okay. It's not okay.
I agree with you, though. I mean, on the lateness,
we should not
because you have a penchant of always being late on the show.
He represents the same penchant of government.
It's true. Oh, they all agree that you're always late. So please, try to not come late next week.
Mostly come very early.
You do?
But I understand how excited my brother is this morning.
I am not happy that you're late, but let's move on.
Apologies to viewers and yourselves.
Yeah, so I think it ends it. So you're welcome to the show. I'm finding out for the first time that you're actually a medical doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And you have a hospital at Amasaman.
Do you have to say that?
Oh, is that supposed to be like a secret?
Oh,
I'm sorry then.
We went to medical school.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well done.
Thank you.
Since you're a doctor, then you have a lot of insight on the devastating effects of galamsey. But Philemon,
yes.
I mean, I know that the EC has not officially responded to your petition. Did you demonstrate, by the way?
Yes, the people of the NDC in our millions.
Were you part?
In our millions. We're there in our millions.
Were you part?
And of course, yes.
You were there?
Yes, the demonstration involved every person that loves this country.
But your flag bearer wasn't there?
You see, let's not divert the issue.
We are not. It's because of what you just said.
Those who
every person who loves the NDC
Yes, that's the fact that those of us who want John Mahama to be president, we're out there in the streets.
But he doesn't want to be.
Want justice. Those of us who want accountability, who want transparency, we're out in the street. President Mahama had other engagements, and it's a political party. There are other people that represent him.
I see.
So even me, as I sit here, I represent John Mahama, and I was on the street. Our national chairman was on the street. Several people, the rank and file of the NDC, and even people not members of the NDC, were out on the street.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, but you saw the statements from the Electoral Commission saying they have received the petition, but they are promising a credible register. Your thoughts on that, your response to that as a party and as a representative of John Mahama?
Okay, first of all, I heard your very initial words about my brother Ezekiel. Said there was a pension. Observe that he comes late. No, I'm just using that to make a point. I'm using that to make a point. So there's been an observation about what you think is the character of Ezekiel relative to his attendance to this program. It's the same way we in the NDC have observed the crooked nature of this particular EC. Over the period, not once, not twice, not thrice, several times, the NDC has made valid proposals to this EC. You see, perception is very important, even more important than the reality sometimes. And for you to be an arbiter, for you to be an umpire, for you to hold the high office of EC, regulating and conducting elections in this country, you must present yourself as a fair person. As a fair person. And in fact, you must be willing to tell the appointing authority in instances where they appoint politically exposed persons to man that EC that, Mr. President, we reject your appointment because you are turning the EC into an appendage of the MPP. So yes, we have heard what GHOne has said, but the fact of the matter is that the NDC has said time without number that we have issues. Sit down with us on those issues. The fact of the matter is that even your media house here at GHOne, several media houses across the length and breadth of this country, you have done stories on the examples, the many examples of voter infractions, of people whose names have been deleted from the register, people who have been transferred to polling stations they do not know about. several illegalities and irregularities. People's votes have been transferred without their consent, in clear breach of the constitutional instrument that governs the EC. Clear breach. Let me give you a bit of a historical antecedent. In 2016, GHOne Mensah was then with the IE, Institute of Economic Affairs. I read a statement from GHOne Mensah. And in this statement, GHOne Mensah was calling for an international audit of the voter register of 2016. GHOne Mensah. The same GHOne Mensah that is EC chairperson today called for an international audit of the voter register. And the leadership of Charlotte Osei availed it, provided for it, facilitated it. Today, we have the UNDP.
There was an independent audit?
Yes, today.
Was there?
Yes, there was.
When?
Today, in 2016, there was one. Today.
What audit is that? What's that?
Oh, you're not aware?
No, please.
That there was a call for an audit of the 2016 register, which was done.
Done by who?
It was done. A global entity did that. And there are several calls. Do a Google search right now. You see the many calls of the MPP, Sami Oku particularly.
I know the calls.
Nana Akufo-Addo particularly. Calling for an
done?
international audit of the EC's work.
Was it done?
It was done. It was.
By who?
It was done by the EC.
The EC
in collaboration with several other audit agents.
A forensic audit of itself.
Let's situate the issue here. The fact of the matter is that the peace of this country is in danger. The peace of this country going to the 2024 election is in danger. The same people, the very characters that were very loud in 2016, are today afraid of accountability. And that's the most germane issue here. It's the most important issue. So to the extent that this particular EC is occupied by appointees of Akufo-Addo who are politically exposed, Bosman Asare, Dr. Pierre Hene, even her, GHOne Mensah herself, I think that it doesn't speak to credibility. So at the end of the day, we are calling out for an EC that is ready and willing to ensure that there's freedom, there's accountability, there's transparency, and that the right thing is done. I know several people, even my own polling station, there are several people who have been transferred in clear breach of the CI. Should the EC boss not be held to task on that? So the NDC has spoken in very clear terms, and our voice is that we demand nothing short of accountability and transparency. We demand nothing but a credible voter register. We demand nothing but an audit of the EC register. If the EC has nothing to hide, come out. I was just looking at a statement I saw from the Christian Council, and I looked at all those that signed on that particular statement. And I asked myself, GHOne Mensah, do you listen at all to the pulse of the nation? I listened to the Gumwa Manso Hene, the Gumwa Man Hene. Chiefs are speaking. The Most Reverend Dr. Paul Boafo is speaking. The Venerable Archbishop Duncan Williams is speaking.
What did Duncan Williams say?
They are all calling for an audit of the EC. And that the EC should listen to the NDC's calls. The statement. They issued a statement by the Christian Council. And these are the signatories, including the representative of the Chief Imam, including the representative of the Ahmadiyya Mission. I can give you the several lists. Dr. Susan Inti, National Association of Charismatic Churches. We have Dr. Cyril Fayosi, the General Secretary of the CCG. We have Reverend Father Michael Kweku, the rep of the Ghana Catholic Bishops Conference. Several people are calling for a credible register. GHOne Mensah, this is a direct call to you. Listen to the people of this country. We all do not have military people guarding us. We all do not have soldiers in our houses. We all do not have soldiers following us even to the market. For us, we want a peaceful country, not a country that has the potential for war. That is our call, and that is our demand.
Okay, but I have to let the viewers know that in 2016, there was no independent forensic audit.
The fact of the matter is that in 2016, were there calls for that or not? Did the EC hit to it? Did the EC hit to it or not? It was there.
But there was
What's
no
your source,
audit.
Serwaa? What is your source?
I am telling you as a journalist that there was no audit.
But Serwaa, I'm going to tell you as a matter of fact.
If you have contrary evidence,
yes,
I'll be more than glad to know it.
But you have not presented any evidence. You just shared an opinion,
because
not evidence.
if there was an audit, we would know.
You have shared
what
an opinion and not
there
evidence.
Was a committee.
So if your opinion is holding on to my opinion, you don't hold your superior.
But you know what?
Yeah.
If you have contrary evidence that there was an audit, please share it with me, because I really want to know.
But you have not presented evidence. So
but I'm telling you that there was no audit. If you are saying there was an audit, why don't you just produce
the fact of the matter is 2016 is gone. But in 2024, there are calls for an audit.
Yeah, but you know, by way of education and information, there was no audit.
Breaches.
There were calls. There was a committee that was set up, which was chaired by VC Crab.
Yes,
but there was no audit. Doc, please come in.
Right, so, good morning to yourself again. Good morning to our viewers. And once again, apologies for turning in late. Very uncharacteristic. On the issue of the NDC demonstration, clearly, it's within their right to demonstrate whatever they feel bitter about, whatever their concerns are. It's clearly within the remit of their freedoms and rights to protest and express their dissatisfaction towards any engagement of a public entity vis-a-vis the Electoral Commission here. And moving into elections, there are a lot of strategies being deployed as to whether or not it's substantiated. It's for all of us to ponder and examine critically the views of the NDC and the allegations. If I recall, they made an allegation that they've seen some 250,000 infractions vis-a-vis certain transfers that were done without the people's authorization, certain names that have been deleted without the people's prior knowledge. And it's the reason they are calling for the forensic audit. What is quite intriguing is that the NDC has not adduced evidence to the public for the public to even side with them and help them with a call. Because I believe that if I have anything indeed concrete enough to show that there are a few infractions with the register, then I would first at least churn out some evidence to the public that indeed the 250,000 they claim their infractions with the register. We've not seen those 250,000 names.
But the EC themselves have said that they have corrected that mistake.
They would at all points in time would have few discrepancies here and there. Over the years, it's the reason we've had the exhibition exercise, and it's the reason why certain issues will come up during the exhibition exercise and due diligence taken for same to be corrected. The monumental aspects of those discrepancies, we are yet to see such evidence, and the EC has not run away from the fact that, possibly there are a few things here and there which are not in proper state with the register. Without speaking for the EC, I believe the best the NDC can do for us is to indeed bring evidence, and if their calls are not heeded to, the right place to go is the court, give evidence to the court, and then the court compel the EC to do the audit. We've seen circumstances in the past. Abu Ramadan versus the EC. The EC used NHIS card to register people. It was challenged that the NHIS card does not point to someone's nationality. The courts agreed with them, asked the EC to go and remove those names and give the people the proper means of registering. So there are so many avenues available to the NDC. As for the expression, whatever they felt strongly about on the streets of Ghana, once again, it's within their rights. The police was there to protect them, and it has some health benefit as well. I mean, having an exercise, early morning exercise, of course, helps to burn some calories. So without even the legal aspect, the health aspect is quite beneficial. So it's well within the ambit of their right to do whatever they did. As to us as a party or the MPP, our major focus has been that at every stage of the process, we keep a keen eye. Whatever we need to do, whatever engagement we need to have, we have such engagements. And we believe that at the end of the day, it's our superior record in government and the message we have for the people that would at least endure the people and give us the victory we hope for. Our flag bearer is on his feet. He's working day and night. He's not resting. And sometimes we ask ourselves where he gets his energy from. It's all because of the particular interest he's taking in the people, to at least subject himself to the people and let the people know that, yes, indeed, he's up for the task. He's working hard. He's campaigning hard. He's not leaving anything to chance. And he's indeed selling his message to the good people of Ghana. On the NDC, well, clearly, my brother has stated their position strongly. At the end of the day, we believe that in the end, what should reign should be peace. In the end, we are all committed to having a very seamless process as such. And with our register, clearly, we are looking for one that's credible enough, one that's robust, one that in the end, everyone would accept whatever the outcome of the election is. So without, overflagging the issue, it's within the right of the NDC to demonstrate. But within the demonstration, within and around the demonstration, whatever allegations they make, it's at best at least they give to the public. The EC has called on them to bring those discrepancies for them for the corrections to be made. And until the final voter register is made available to the political parties and stakeholders, there is still time enough for us to correct whatever infractions there are in the register. We just finished with the exhibition exercise. All those concerns that were raised by individuals and stakeholders, the EC is still in the process of correcting those infractions. So yes, we will call on them to make everything available, and if indeed they have genuine concern, if indeed whatever they are churning out, whatever the allegations are indeed grounded and they are quite credible, then indeed, I mean, they would have a case. It's up to the EC. No one is here to defend the EC. I'm here to defend my party. There hasn't been anything with the MPP being engaged in any form of machinations. It's clearly an allegations leveled at the level of the Electoral Commission. We are not here to speak for the EC. We have our eyes on the ball. We will continue to campaign. We continue to monitor the process. Whatever the EC intends to do, we'll be there to contribute at IPAC. We'll be there to share our suggestions. Going back into history, the MPP has been there. The call for electoral vigilance, the call for proposals to make our electoral processes better from 92, from opaque boxes to fighting to have transparent boxes, to fighting to have picture-based register, to fighting to have a biometric-based register, to fighting to have certain electoral reforms post the 2012 electoral petition we sent to Supreme Court and the outcome of the petition that's indeed helped to better our electoral processes. We are committed to having a robust electoral process, one that would, at the end of the day, elect a credible and much deserving president for the country. So yes, we support every well-meaning process, but of course, we will not jump onto the bar simply because allegations are made. Those allegations need to be substantiated. Make available the 250,000 names or discrepancies you've identified with the register, and the whole country would back you for the right thing to be done.
But that's not the only concern they raise about the register.
What are the other concerns?
They raise other concerns of voter transfer, which the EC has admitted to and has had to suspend its representative in Pusiga, for instance. That is a cause for concern.
Definitely.
And what really stops the EC from producing the register for a forensic audit? What stops them? What harm will it cause?
Everything needs to be done in the remit of the law. My brother is here to help us.
What's the legal basis for it?
There's no legal basis to compel the EC to have any forensic audit as well.
In the interest of transparency,
that is why we have the exhibition exercise. That is why when any infraction is identified, you bring it to the table of the EC, and the EC will look into it. Clearly,
I don't know how long
we all need to
have
help.
been voting, but that since the exhibition, since 1996 at least, the voter exhibition exercise always records very low turnout. In fact, even the 2024 one, the one that was done about 2 months ago, same thing. We did many reports, checked with many centers. The turnout was very low. People were not checking. And so if a party has identified an anomaly, which the EC themselves have admitted, why can't they just open the register up for an audit?
The register is there for any inputs. The fact that there is a low turnout at the exhibition centers does not mean the EC necessarily need to submit our register to a third-party forensic audit. The fact that people do not turn up to check their names here and there doesn't mean it's grounds enough for the EC to do the said forensic audit. What I would appreciate, or what would help everyone, is that you bring out those discrepancies you've identified holistically for everyone to know that at the end of the day, the 250,000 discrepancies are not just one leg discrepancies. It's everything put together. The fact that a district officer is suspended, the fact that someone's name was transferred illegally, it's not grounds enough to characterize the entire process to mean that once it was done in a particular district, then clearly it's quite ubiquitous, it's everywhere, and every district record the same. Of course, we are committed to robust registry. We are committed to robust processes leading up to elections. But the mere fact that an occasion occurred in a particular location or jurisdiction doesn't make it grounds enough for us to generally conclude as to the character of whatever transpired. So yeah, we still await the NDC to help the process. The EC, I believe, is committed. IPAC is committed indeed. If you bring out such monumental evidence at IPAC, I don't think any political party would stand against you to say that, well, we've seen that indeed there's a lot of problem with the register, yet we won't go with you. I don't think anyone is committed to doing that. Everyone that's speaking, speak of peace. Everyone that's speaking, speak of fairness. And fairness is before, within, and after the election. So we are all committed to it.
In 2015, Samia Uku, who was your national organizer then, called for a third party to audit the voters' register. It's not different from what they are asking for.
There were a lot, of course. At the end of the day, we were told that we should have our say for the EC to decide. At the end of the day, we were told that indeed there is no voter register anywhere in the world which does not have an issue or the other. At the end of the day, we were told that indeed whatever the call, whatever your concerns are, getting a third party to come and do any forensic audit was not the order of the day. So indeed, calls were made in the back, and we are still committed to those processes. If indeed you give a genuine and quite convincing evidence to back your claim, clearly people will support it. When Samia Uku made those statements, I believe if he had identified 250,000 discrepancies with the register and he backed same with the evidence, I believe it should have resonated. But the mere call for a register to be forensically audited because someone made same allegations or made those calls back then is not grounds enough. My brother is here, he's a lawyer, he can educate us, but they are not grounds enough for us to say that same calls were made in 2016. So once we are also making same calls, then automatically things need to be done our way. I don't think it's the right way to go.
Isn't the issue of Pusiga enough to warrant such a call?
When we are having a research,
where the EC themselves have admitted.
When we are having a research, the best way to get a very good conclusion or deduction from your research is to ideally interview the entire population. But because of resources, right? Yes, the population, not us in the country. The population are the people you want to research or investigate. But you choose a domain, and out of your population and domain, you get a sample size, isn't it? At the end of the day, your sample size should be well represented enough to make a statement or a conclusion for the entire population. So if there are over the 261 districts across the country, and one out of the 261 had an issue, can we say that it's a sample size well enough to represent 261 population? Clearly not, in terms of even research, in terms of investigations.
But isn't that enough reason why?
It is never
because
enough.
If Pusiga, if one area has, experienced or we have seen some discrepancies in that area, that is what has been identified. What about the other areas that may not have been identified?
You can only make a conjecture because one is not representative of 261.
So why don't you open it up and let's
only make a
double
conjecture.
check?
Should we go on conjectures to, a state institution should necessarily come out to come and do what they are not used to doing? We should be calling people to come into our businesses simply because of one representative out of 261. Anytime there is an infraction somewhere, imagine ECG office, there's a problem in one of their district offices. Then, once there's a problem in one ECG office, then it calls for an entire audit of ECG offices across the country. Ghana Water Company has a problem in one office. Then the fact that there is one office having an issue, then it means the issues are disseminated enough for it to be spread across the entire offices. Is that the path you want to go? The moment an office, one office out of many or numerous offices across the country of a state institution has a problem, then we have safe to generalize that once there is a problem with one office across the country, then entire offices of such state institution has a problem and as such need to be audited. That's why I said that you can investigate or you can research on a population, but because you can't have the resources and the time to make sure each and every one member of the population is interviewed, that's where you have your sample size. But at the end of the day, your sample size should be good enough, should be representative enough to make a deduction or a conclusion for the entire population. So yes, 261 districts. Can one district out of the 261 be enough grounds for us to say that we are making a conclusion, a deduction, whatever, for the entire 261 offices. I don't think it's strong enough. I'm not a judge, I'm not a lawyer, but you can't send this case to court for any judge to back you simply because there's one EC office that's identified to have a problem. That's why it's incumbent or it's necessary for us to produce the mass of evidence we believe we have to the public. Indeed, the public will be the best judge. If indeed you have something the EC is trying to cover or the EC is trying to gag you, you produce the evidence to the public that, look, we have 250,000 people whose names are either transferred illegally or deleted, among others, from the register. And this is the evidence. And I believe the whole country will rally behind you. Ghana, when it comes to certain issues, we all come together and we all face state institutions squarely. And I believe it's one of them. We urge the NDC to bring out those infractions. But one representative out of 261, it's not a good sample size enough for us to have any deduction or conclusion for the entire population.
Okay, let me ask you this. Has the NPP really audited the voters register?
The NPP cannot audit a voter register.
I mean, have you done an audit of it?
We definitely have representatives.
So have you done it?
We have representatives. You can speak to the election affairs director of my party. I don't have that info. But of course, I keep saying that.
I asked that question because the director of elections, which is Evans Nimako,
yes,
says they have not identified any anomalies in the register. But in Pusiga, for instance, the NDC has identified and the EC has admitted. So that's why I ask you, exactly, has the party really done an audit of the register? Should
the party necessarily identify an anomaly because NDC has identified an anomaly?
How is it that they have the same register? The NDC and the EC, I didn't limit it to the NDC, and the EC have both identified that indeed there was an anomaly in Pusiga, for instance. But the NPP says that they have not identified that.
I'm saying the fact that NDC has identified an anomaly doesn't mean I should necessarily identify an anomaly.
The Electoral Commission.
They prompted the Electoral Commission on the Pusiga situation, right? And they accepted, as you say. But the fact still remains that the fact that my brother Philemon has identified an anomaly with the voter register does not necessarily mean I should also identify an anomaly. But of course,
what are you saying? You keep limiting it to the NDC. And I'm telling you that
the EC did not identify the anomaly. It was the NDC that identified it and drew the attention of the EC, and the EC
they
accepted. Exactly.
So when you say they accepted, do you mean that they accepted because they didn't have party?
They admitted.
They accepted, and for which reason?
They someone.
Hold on. They suspended the EC director in Pusiga.
No problem.
That tells you that indeed there was an anomaly. If there wasn't, I don't think they would have taken that step of suspension.
Did it take all political parties in Ghana to identify or have issues with the NHIS card being used for registration in 2016 for the elections? It took just the MPP, right? For someone who was pro-MPP to go to court because, yes, we can't sit for NHIS cards to be used as a basis of identification for registration onto the roster. Was the NDC in sync with the MPP then? No. So clearly,
said the register, but you haven't found any anomaly.
I'm not with the Directorate of Elections. I can't speak to that. I can't sit here and look in the faces of viewers and churn out something I'm not privy to. But what I'm saying is that there is nothing wrong with the NDC being the sole party to identify any anomaly. But the fact that NDC has identified anomaly does not necessarily mean that the MPP should necessarily identify anomaly. And I'll give you an example. The NHIS card registration, we all had it, we all saw it, and NDC did not have problems with it. The fact that they did not have problems with it.
The NHIS thing you talk about is not an anomaly, it's an illegality.
Well, that's supposed illegality. The NDC did not raise any eyebrow about the illegality. Other parties, I'm not having any records of they raising any eyebrow concerning those illegalities. It took the MPP and someone pro-MPP to go to court. So there's nothing wrong. At every point in time, it takes one person to identify a problem and call everyone on board to come and see what the person has and get the buy-in of others to prosecute something. So just as MPP had issues with the illegalities with the register in 2016, vis-a-vis the usage of NHIS cards to register, in the same way the NDC is doing same today. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean necessarily that MPP should necessarily go to Pusiga and have issues. For all you know, somewhere in my village, somewhere, attention of EC officials were drawn to various infractions that the MPP did not necessarily have to escalate it to the public level.
Isn't that why there should be a forensic audit of the register?
Is it grounds enough? I've asked you 261 districts. Are you picking one district as a sample size to make a determination for such population?
But what does it hurt? Enough? I mean, if you had a company, an organization, and one staff has, or you have a food company, and somebody has come to complain, one person has come to complain of food poisoning, you don't think that's enough to investigate what happened?
I have a food company spread across 261 districts. One of my branches is having a suspected issue of food poisoning. For that matter, I should go auditing 261 branches.
What does it hurt? Are you not interested in knowing the ingredients? I'm asking you.
What you are saying?
You are not interested in knowing?
There's no grounds enough for me to audit all my branches across the country. I will go to that place.
But what does it hurt?
Well, the fact that it doesn't
there's
hurt,
an international donor that intends to pay for it.
The fact
that
something doesn't hurt necessarily doesn't mean I should do it.
So why can't you do it?
As the EC, you're not the EC. But I'm saying that.
But what do you say?
What I believe is that at the end of the day, you go through the processes, you go through the exhibition, you found a problem, you do the attention of the EC. EC admitted, like you are trying to tell me, or like you told me. And I'm saying that the NDC,
are not aware that the EC admitted?
The NDC has told us that they have discrepancies to the tune of 250,000. And I'm saying that just as you drew the attention of the EC, make available those discrepancies to the public. And we are all part of stakeholders. We will all back you for the right thing to be done. But if you make a blanket statement that we've identified 250,000 names that were either illegally transferred or deleted from the roster without giving us something to hold on to back your call, are we saying that we should churn out allegations and have the entire institution, subjected to a forensic audit because of an allegation that no one knows where those allegations are coming from?
So the NPP is against a forensic audit?
I've not seen any letter.
Well, Nana B, who is your national organizer, says that if the EC does that forensic audit, they will go to court.
I've not seen a letterhead with any communique from our general secretary, who is the mouthpiece of the party, to that effect. Nana B is within his right as a citizen. Of course, he speaks for the party in terms of his position as a national organizer. He shares his view. He has his view as a Ghanaian. And of course, he's a national officer. But if the MPP wants to put out something, my general secretary or anyone the party direct to be a signatory to that communique would definitely put something out.
So when Evans Nimaku, is director of elections, says that the register is clean, we should disregard that because it didn't come from the general secretary of the party?
He would advise the party because he's been given a role as director of elections. It's within his responsibility of the directorate to look into the processes and advise the party.
What are you saying?
If I'm saying
until the statement comes from the general secretary,
I'm saying
we should disregard
the director of elections.
Right?
He would advise the national executive.
But he says that the register is clean.
That's from his studies.
So it's not the position of the party.
From his studies as director of elections, and I believe he will communicate same to the party. He will communicate same to the executives.
So what is the party's position?
We await a official communication from the party. But for now,
so
our director of elections,
your organizer speaks, your director of elections speaks, we should disregard it because it's not coming from...
I'm saying that they have a position. So yes, whatever they utter, whatever they say, would come with some substance. But if MPP wants to make a categorical statement, it will come through the national executives, signed by the secretary or anyone else, authorized to do same. But I understand that Amihere Macron is the director of elections. I don't know what he has seen. I don't know what he's advised the party on. But I can't speak ahead of my party when I've not been given directives or the party has not come out with directives for us to communicate same.
Okay. So you heard him. He says that the NDC has not presented evidence.
Good. That's how he started. Then when you pushed him on Pusika, he admitted. So he's behaving like the EC, because whenever we tell them that you are wrong and there are infractions and there are things going wrong with the register, they deny, first of all. And when we present them with the evidence, we have X on their faces. The same thing that just happened to him. So the fact of the matter is that we started from the very beginning, doubting the credibility of the EC, from the appointment of politically exposed persons down to the stealing of devices, biometric devices at the office of the EC. When we raised that alarm, the EC is on record to have said the NDC was lying and that we're lying. The EC is on record to have denied when we raised the issue. And we were able to prove with evidence that indeed some of the devices for biometric voter registration and authentication had been stolen. One instance. Another one in Pusuga and several other parts of this country. And I'm saying again that several media houses, including GHOne, have reported on the several nationally how people have complained about infractions, changes of their names from the voter register, illegal transfers, and all of that. People have spoken about that. On the issue of sample size that he argues on, you gave the specific example of food. Whenever there's anything wrong with a particular batch of food, they withdraw the entire batch. They withdraw the entire batch. That is the analogy. Whenever a vehicle, they release a particular brand of vehicle, and they realize there's a general mistake, they withdraw it. They withdraw that particular batch of the vehicle. So when the NDC has provided prima facie evidence, which has been authenticated in Pusuga and several other parts of this country, authenticated. And remember, when we raised the alarm on these particular voter infractions and register infractions, the EC again, in similar characteristic, denied it. But yet again, we presented preliminary evidence. We're a party of strategy. We're a party of Mahama, a party of brains. We don't put all our cards on the table. We present some of it. And indeed, we have presented some of it. And the preliminary evidence the NDC has presented shows that there is widespread voter infractions relative to the register. One specific thing, he spoke about the law. The current CI that the EC operates on says that if you want to transfer your vote, you go to the district office of the EC in the constituency you want to transfer your vote from. So if I come from Garu Timpani, there's Garu district. I want to transfer my vote from, say, Garu district to another part of the country. I have to go to the district office of the EC in Garu. That's what the law says. That is what must happen. But what the EC has presided over is a case where people's names have been transferred when they did not even go to the EC office to have their votes transferred. And the media has captured it.
Beyond Pusuga, have you put out any other evidence?
We have over 300,000 instances, 300,000.
So why don't you present it?
That is why we are calling for the EC, that we have so far proven to you that there are several instances. We have given you evidence on those ones. So based on the fact that an electoral register must be credible, and we have presented preliminary evidence to you that this register is infested with several errors, come with your IT system, IT people, NDC will come with our IT people. We're even inviting the other political parties, if they are so minded and interested, come with your own IT people. And based on the preliminary instances of infractions we have seen, let us all reconcile it. Because we all have one agenda. And that agenda is to have a credible, free, transparent election.
But let me ask you, I mean, if you have preliminary sources or documents to show that there are infractions, and the EC is challenging you, why are you keeping the hard facts which will prove your case?
I've just made the point that we have presented evidence, which is why the EC shamefully sacked their Pusuga
director. That's for Pusuga alone.
That's number one.
But you make,
Serwaa, that is part of the collective evidence we have.
So why are you keeping the rest of the evidence?
Come on the table.
Why can't you just present it?
No, the EC has said that they want to dialogue now. Isn't that what they have said? Have they not heeded to the calls of the various right-thinking members of Ghanaian society who are saying that come and sit with the NDC and rectify the errors? So if they are so minded on the issue of transparency, come and sit with us. We'll provide all of the rest.
But why haven't you done it the whole time? The EC has been calling for the EC has been calling for a sit down for a while.
On what basis did the EC sat
down? We have dealt with the issue of Pusuga, but the EC has said, come with your evidence and let us look into it. And this call didn't start today. So why haven't you done that?
Our case is that this is something that needs IT audit. It must be audited by independent IT people to authenticate the veracity, the errors, and all of that. We have so far demonstrated that every time we have identified problems with the EC, they turn out true. And I've given you the examples of several errors that the NDC identified, which have turned out true. We are saying that beyond Pusuga and beyond the several stories that even your media house has reported on, widespread across this country.
Which stories?
There are several stories of voter infractions, people being transferred from their polling stations, people who did not register to vote have their names on the register. Several instances all across the length and breadth of this country. Several. So our call is simple. Serwaa, our call is simple. Our call is that we are not doing this in the dark. We want to do it in the light so the people of this country know that this register is credible.
Have you tried IPAC? Have you gone to IPAC?
But then you sit back at IPAC.
Yes, but this issue that you talk about.
Yes, and that's why we have even extended an invitation out to even the MPP and to other political parties that are so minded. Come join us. Bring your IT people. Easy, bring your IT people. It's simple. This is a very simple thing. Nobody can do anything untoward. If really you have a register, you are denying the fact that across the length and breadth of this country, you have illegally transferred the votes of people, you have illegally terminated people from the register, you have added people who did not register and all of that. Come to the table with 10 fingers on the table. Let us all look at it. If at the end of the day it is true that you have not illegally done that, we proceed with the election. But we are committed as an NDC party led by our director, Dr. Omani Boama, that over the last few months, every issue that we have identified as wrong with the register and with the EC have turned out true. So I tell you, Serwaa,
why don't you go to court to compel the
Serwaa,
EC?
So far,
I'm asking you.
I'll answer that question. So far, at least about 5 different cases that the NDC has raised has turned out true. Not true?
Which
correct?
cases?
We raised the issue of the stolen devices. The EC said it was not true and that the devices were intact.
But what has
and
that
it turned
got to do
out
with
true.
the register?
It's got to do with the election. Because
so
the device you need, the point
worried about the devices or the voters register?
There are several issues that would guarantee a transparent election, a free election. Part of it is your credibility and the perception of credibility that the people of this country have. That's number one. Number two, the devices you are using for the election are supposed to be controlled by just you, the EC. So when we now have MPP people having it on the street of Nsawam, it creates the issue of credibility. If we've raised to you the fact that the register is bloated, that people have had their votes transferred illegally and several other infractions, and you deny, and at the end of the day it turns out true, it speaks to the fact that you do not have credibility. So the EC has failed. The EC has failed, and there's only one thing the EC must do. If GHOne Mensah cares about this country and cares about the peace and stability of this country, let us audit the register. Let us all be on the same page. The issue of a court, the NDC's position on the courts we have our own issues and our own strategies. We cannot be directed on which option to deploy at any point in time.
Nobody is directing.
Someone famously said that the court is not a slaughterhouse. And you go to the court at your own convenience and at the right time that suits your strategy. So the court remains an option the NDC can explore. We have several options available to us, and one of them was the nationwide demonstration we had 2 days ago. The international media is watching. The diplomatic missions are watching. The whole world is watching Ghana. We have seen how our democracy has become so depraved under the leadership of Akufo-Addo. We have seen how Ghana has become a laughingstock in the Committee of Nations under Akufo-Addo. Never has the EC of Ghana faced such backlash. We saw Afarijan. We saw Charlotte Osei. We saw that they expressed at least the modicum of integrity required in that office. We saw it. We saw appointments of EC officials by Rawlings, by Mahama, by Mills, and all of these people. We saw it. Not once did we ever see that the appointment of an EC or EC commissioners will generate such uproar in the country because you have appointed politically exposed persons. So our call is very simple. The EC so far has not demonstrated in any way that shows that they are a neutral umpire and a neutral arbiter. They smack of corruption. They smack of they have postured themselves as an appendage of the MPP government. If they are not, come on the table. Let us audit the register. Let us be sure that the register is clean and transparent. And let us also authenticate that people who did not sanction that their votes be transferred illegally has been transferred illegally.
That's you want to respond to that very quickly?
But if you respond, I have another right of...
the initial analogy I made about having food vending and branches, I didn't speak of a batch of food. I said that if I have branches across the country and one branch out of 261 branches has a problem or suspected food poison, doesn't mean I need to go chasing the 261 and other branches. And my brother has even added more flesh to what we thought were the issues initially, because we thought the discrepancies were to the tune of 250,000. Now my brother said it is over 300,000. Then you go ahead to ask, if you have such monumental discrepancies with you, why wouldn't you churn them out? Why wouldn't you let the public be aware? And the excuse or the reason is that because they had spoken in the past about BVDs, because they had made certain or pointed fingers at Pusiga. So there are grounds enough for anyone to believe that indeed they have some 300,000 discrepancies here and there. And clearly, you ask yourself, should we once again go on this tangent. But like you said rightly, they have a strategy, and I can only believe that whatever is being done in and around the EC is a strategy of the NDC. So my last words are that, yes, it's within the NDC. I wouldn't know why going into a competition, I have serious and verifiable problems with the referee or the refereeing agent, and I'd rather call for auditing of same without providing evidence. And when I'm asked, I'll tell you that yes, in previous matches or in previous competitions, I raised A, B, C, D, and they came to pass. So trust me when I say I have such concerns against the referee, yet I won't adduce same evidence. 300,000 is quite huge, and at least we expect the NDC to at least do a quarter of the 300,000, or even a tenth. That would be 30,000 discrepancies. At least chain a tenth out there. Let the public reason with you. Let the public see that indeed whatever you claim you have is indeed true. Chain at least 10% of it, and we will back you. But of course, it's elections.
Let me ask you a question. Are you interested in a transparent, free and fair election?
Everyone is interested in a transparent, free
not
and
the
fair
MPP.
elections.
So why are you, for the want of a better word, bothered about an audit into the register?
We are not bothered.
If it will produce a fair election.
No one is bothered. But if you are not giving us reasons for us to have same, how can we back you? That's the problem. Do you have any evidence as to why everything needs to be audited? And you can only cite
I don't have evidence, but I do not have a problem. That the
we don't have a problem. So in the absence of a problem and the absence of...
So why don't you just allow them to have it audited?
So we should just have auditing without any basis.
What does it hurt?
It doesn't hurt, but it doesn't have any reason to be done. It doesn't hurt,
And
but there's no
does it
reason for it
affect
to be
you,
done.
the NPP?
It doesn't affect the NPP. In opposition, we beat even the EC and the NDC to their game. We had our results in the fastest of times you can think of, not even using both world record. In opposition, we put in machinery to make sure that we were able to transmit our result to our National Collation Center. We are talking about the NPP here. Do you think?
So are you saying that the fact that a party does not have that kind of machinery to audit results
I'm saying that it is not a matter of audit or not. It's a matter of being vigilant. It's a matter of whatever is thrown at you, because we can't compel the EC to do what they can't do, or they are not ready to do, or the law has not prescribed of them to do. But for everyone to support you, you need to give us a reason. Your reason is that it doesn't hurt, so we should do it. So next time, someone will also get up. I have a problem with ECG. Then we say, okay, it doesn't hurt. He's not giving any evidence, but it doesn't hurt. Let's go ahead and deal with ECG. The next person will get up. Are we opening the floodgate for such things to be occasioned in our country?
The media has reported all of
I'm
these
saying
things.
that you've alluded to 300,000 discrepancies and over. At least give us a tenth of the 300,000. That would be 30,000 discrepancies. And you think that the whole country, if we are privy to at least 30,000 discrepancies with our register, no one will support you. But the mere fact that you spoke about BVDs, the mere fact that the Pusiga is a test case means it's grounds enough for us to establish any forensic audit of our register. It doesn't hurt, Serwaa, but there's no base. There's no justification. There are no grounds for same to be done.
All right. Yes.
Quickly. There's the issue of Tolon. In Tolon, for example, we have brought those issues to the fore. There's the issue of Tolon specifically. Even in Esojaman constituency, strange polling stations that we never knew existed have been created on the register. Esojaman. So the issues are widespread. It's not just in the north.
So bring them out.
But what have I just done?
Tolon,
these are issues. These are issues the NDC has been public about. We have pointed them directly to the doorsteps of the EC. So it's not like
in Esojaman, it's even one polling station.
Listen. The fact of the matter is that we have raised all of those issues. We flagged them. There are several instances of infractions across the length
why holding on to the 300,000 discrepancies?
So come on the table. Let us discuss the issues. Let us audit them. Bring your best IT people. You claim that you were the first to collate elections and all of that. Bring your IT people. We'll bring ours. And the fact of the matter is that it will demonstrate that this EC is bloated. This EC is fake. It's not credible. And the call of the Ghanaian people is that we demand nothing but an independent forensic audit.
So what is the call of the NDC?
So what do you want? You want your IT people to audit the register, or you want an independent audit?
We're asking for an independent audit. And in that audit process, you have your witness, your IT person that comes to be sure that the right auditing procedure is done. You come with yours, I come with mine. And make no mistake, the essence of an audit is not purposely to identify fraud. It is to ensure transparency. So if there's fraud in there, then the audit will find it. But the essence is to find transparency. So if the EC is committed to transparency, let the register be audited. If the MPP is committed to transparency, come and join us and let us audit it. Because Alan Cash, a former member of your party, one of the best brains we have in this country, aside in the MPP, former members of the MPP, one of those that we can rely on, Alan Cash, has come out to say that he is part of it. He deviates from the EC position.
Turn out at least
if you believe in the peace of this country, and we have always said that we will no more be the victims of peace in this country. The NDC will not be victims of peace. And if the MPP and the EC continue to act irresponsibly against the wishes of peace that the Ghanaian people have, we shall meet them squarely on that.
The MPP is not the EC, but of course, if you have germane issues, at least churn out a tenth of your 300,000, and 30,000 is strong enough to get the buy-in of everyone. Without that,
are you saying without the buy-in of everyone, the EC cannot carry out?
I'm saying support for EC on their core. I'm not saying that as our buy-in necessarily is going to compel the EC. I'm saying that we are all committed to fair and peaceful processes. So if there are such monumentous over 300,000 discrepancies, and we are not aware of those 300,000.
The guy is speaking like a spokesperson of the EC. But the fact of the matter is that we know that the MPP is an annex of the EC, and the EC is an annex of the MPP.
But is that the case? Why is it that when a party is in opposition, they always have a problem with the EC?
Oh, is that the trend?
You're asking me. In 2016, John Mahama said that the NPP is always hounding the EC, and it should leave the EC to do its work. Now, you are making the same allegation. Both. So when you're in opposition, then you have a problem with the EC. But when you're in party, you are happy with the EC. Is that what happens between
John Mahama said, allow the EC to do its work. He has a responsibility to ensure that the voter register is credible.
They too say allow the EC to do its work.
Yes, so part of executing its work is ensuring that, look, when you look at the Constitution, the role
John
of the
Mahama
EC,
said that the NPP was always hounding the EC.
You must collate a credible voter register. And so far, we have identified several instances that attack the credibility of the voter register. Is that not basis for the EC to do its job?
We are not aware of those 300,000.
And that job is to ensure that the voter register is credible. Now, you see, what the danger is this. The danger is this. After this said exhibition, there will be no exhibition again. No. There will be no exhibition again. So after all the reports about errors, the EC will go ahead and do whatever it wants, irrespective of whether or not we know there has been corrections or not.
But have you presented the errors to the EC?
That is a danger. That's a grave danger. And it's why the EC must set up. It's why Jean Mensa, who is an appendage of the MPP, must set up. She must listen to right-thinking members of society, the clergy, civil society, the NDC, other political parties. Listen to us.
Have you presented?
Jean Mensa, Charlotte said under Charlotte said nothing like this happened, but yet you took her out. Nothing like this happened under Charlotte say, yet you took her out. And today we have an appendage of the MPP sitting as EC.
Let's move on. So there's a recent study by SBM Intelligence, and it is projecting that the NDC will lead 11 regions in the upcoming December 7 polls. According to this research, the NPP share of votes in its stronghold, which is the Ashanti region, it is expected to decrease slightly. Now, we know that, the elections are about, 79 days away. And both parties, especially the two main political parties, have been campaigning very rigorously. But this new SBM Intelligence report says that the NDC will also face stiff competition from the NPP in the northern, the western north, and the OT regions. But basically, the bottom line is that this report is saying that the elections are likely to get into a runoff for come December 7, 2024. for? Doc?
I mean, elections and electoral polls necessarily do not win elections. But of course, it guides you, it gives you some insight on what you might have glossed over. And I thought that the elections a year ago was cast in stone. Clearly, day in, day out, we get to the ultimate realization that by end of November, we will know where the ocean tide would blow to. So we welcome every study, whether it's skewed or not. We are firm on the grounds as a party. We are working hard with our flag bearer. We are selling our message to the good people of Ghana. We believe that in the end, the good people of Ghana would buy into our message. Our record in government is there. The policies introduced that have far-reaching benefit to the Ghanaian. The projects we've done across the country, whatever we've been able to do within the 8 years, we would account to the people and let the people realize the effects, the positives of those things that we've done for the good people of Ghana. And go ahead to sell our message that moving forward, this is where we want to take the country to. Our issues with the unemployment, our issues with tax regimes, our issues with education, our issues with health and whatnot. We've stipulated very cogent, bold solutions that we are selling to the people. So I'm not surprised that if you picked any survey in less than a year ago and the predictions thereof, no one gave MPP a chance. But if you go critically into this current survey you are speaking to, if you do the regional breakdown, they just gave percentages. And if you go into the roster and you do the breakdown to get the actual or nominal values in terms of votes, it puts the MPP ahead. But we are not complacent. We are not complacent at all in whatever comes out in our favor. We are still keeping our eyes on the ball. Our heads are down. We are working hard. We are campaigning. We are reaching out to people. We are explaining our policies to people. We are explaining our achievements to people. And we believe that in the next chapter of this country, it's still the MPP that we need to protect our free SHS, better it, and give opportunity to everyone. It's still the MPP we need to make sure that the over 12,000 kilometers of road we constructed in the past 7 to 8 years of this country, we still would need another phase of the MPP to making sure that our road network is well done in this country. It's still the MPP that we need to be in power to make sure that our health sector is revolutionized, get Agenda 111 working, every district connected, every region having a hospital, introduce artificial intelligence and digitalization in our workspace in the health sector, continue with our drone system and emergency healthcare delivery with our ambulances and whatnot. It's still the MPP that we need to making sure that our issues of industrialization is well taken care of. One district, one factory, and a host of other factories that we hope to come on board in the next phase. It's still the MPP. So yes, we welcome every survey, but we are in tune with whatever we need to do, with wherever we need to reach. Touch on every Ghanaian, knock on every door, go out, resolute your base and get everyone together. Go out, sell your good message, the positives of this government. Everything is not rosary. And of course, wherever there are problems, we empathize with the Ghanaian. But we believe that going forward, it's still the MPP we need in office to take care of our children, to give us a better health infrastructure, to give us a better life, to give us better avenue for employment. The private sector is the engine of growth. Dr. Bawumia is speaking to the private sector. He's going to see 3% of our total revenue to the private sector, expand it, bring the SME bank to support the small and medium scale enterprises. Of course, if you go to the Registrar General, over 80% of businesses registered is the small and medium scale enterprises. Our internally generated funds, over 70% is contributed by SMEs. So yes, we need to take a critical look at SMEs. We are bringing the SME bank. We are bringing the Mineral Development Bank to take care of our miners, to take care of our small scale businesses.
You want to establish an SME bank?
SME bank, yes.
What is MASLOC for?
MASLOC, it's for petty assistance to, deprived and
that's not the mandate of MASLOC. MASLOC is for people, small scale enterprises.
There is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong having MASLOC taking care of SMEs and people with some small businesses and still having a bank that
why do you want to
loans.
Create
there is nothing wrong with that. It even helps and it even expands our base of helping small-scale businesses. If Maslock
why don't you,
is still
if you have
it,
identified these issues, why don't you improve upon Maslock?
Maslock is still functioning. There is nothing wrong. Too much meat in this case does not spoil the soup. We are still committed to making sure that Maslock is functioning, and we will still continue to create more avenues for SMEs. That is
have SME owners told you they have difficulty in accessing funds?
Yes,
with the banks.
It's from the engagements we had with them. Our manifesto committees touched on every organized groups and interest groups in this country.
So you would then say that Maslock has failed?
Maslock has not failed, but Maslock has not been able to take care of everything.
So why don't you fix Maslock?
There is nothing wrong in expanding or increasing the capacity of Maslock. But at the same time, there's nothing wrong in bringing another vehicle that would even complement the efforts of Maslock. There's nothing wrong with that.
So then which people will now go to Maslock?
Nothing wrong with that. Ghanaians are diverse, and we are a lot.
Yes,
it
so
is not everyone that will go to the bank.
What category of businesses can go to Maslock for support?
Everyone that falls within the remit of Maslock can go to Maslock. At the same time,
they can also
we are
go to the
bringing
bank.
Another vehicle, which is the SME bank, for anyone that's so much interested to also access such financial support
and
from the SME
CEOs
banking.
And
once
that,
it is
right?
there, and overriding interest and effect, it will help the country. Whatever will be paid to Serwaa or whoever will go and sit there and man the SME bank cannot be compared to how much the country stands to gain from what such vehicle and what it intends to do to our businesses in this country. We still speak of the health sector, we still speak of the agri sector. We will continue with our vision of self-sustenance in the next 5 years, as already launched last year. So indeed, we will go to the people and sell our message to the people. We will go to the people and admit to our shortcomings as a government. We will go to the people and tell them what we've done after we took over power and where we intend to take the country. So
you want to set up a women's
empowerment fund as well.
But we already have that.
There's too much meat does not spoil the soup.
But the NPP established a women's empowerment fund somewhere in the year 2001. What has happened to it?
I don't think we have a women empowerment fund as we
have
speak
a women's
today.
fund.
A women's fund.
Yes, Ghana Women Fund.
Yes, which is still active.
Is it dead? Because Ghana has 67.5% shareholder in it.
Even if it's active, in the same way Maslock will still function and give assistance to people, the same way nothing is wrong. There is absolutely nothing wrong with still having another vehicle which will only speak to the same issue, seek to address the same issue, expand our horizon, broaden our base, and increase our support base for such people. There's
you want to set up two different companies to solve the same problem.
With that. Even if you have to have five,
can strengthen the one company to solve all of the problems.
Our power generation vehicle is not just one entity. For example, we have VRE, we have WePower. They are all doing the same thing. Should you necessarily say that once it's about generation of power, we don't need WePower and VRE? They are two different entities doing the same work. If you have Maslock, you have SME Bank still giving support to small and medium scale enterprises. If you have the Women's Fund and the new fund that will be created under Dr. Baumia still doing the same thing, we should rather be happy that we are looking at expanding and multiplying our efforts into making sure that such identified groups are being given the necessary thoughts and support they would require. So to us, that is our preoccupation, to go and sell our message, admit to areas that indeed things have not been all that well with us, and ask the Ghanaian, explain to the Ghanaian where we are, where we took the country, and where we intend to take the country. And I believe that is what has culminated into the ever-rising fortunes of our electoral fortunes in this campaign period. And of course, we can study the trend. Hitherto, just about a year ago, no one had predicted any lead for the NPP. But if this research,
so then
I said people had not predicted leads, and we've seen, I mean, whether skewed or unbiased, the reports that have come up. But I'm saying that if this is anything to go by, then it clearly speaks to the momentum that the campaign has gathered and the message of our flag bearer and how much we are committed to touching base with the Ghanaian and letting the Ghanaians availing ourselves to the good people of Ghana and selling our messages to them and looking forward into the future together with the Ghanaians.
With just a few, about two months more to the elections, if this poll is predicting that you're losing 11 regions out of 16 regions, that must be worrying.
The good thing about electoral process in Ghana is that you do not need regions to win. You need popular vote. That's why even with the 11 regions given to my brother Philemon and his party, if you go into the nitty-gritty, do the statistics, the same thing puts the MPP ahead. You do not need all regions to win. So I wrote an exam.
The poll doesn't say that it puts the MPP ahead.
No, it gives you the regional breakdown in terms of percentages.
Yes.
So if you extrapolate the percentages and you compare to the voter register, and is anything to go by in terms of percentage, the percentage will be a product of the actual figures. So yes, per the actual figures we have with our roster and the regional breakdown, if the percentages are anything to go by, statistically, the extrapolation and the deduction puts the MPP ahead from this very research.
Okay. Philemon.
Serwaa, I have become aware of several polls, and I can tell you about 90% of the polls I've seen so far projects that the NDC will win this election. But I think no poll is more efficient and more true and more reflective of the proper pulse of this country than the people of this country. And the people of this country have expressed it in several ways. Today, the cost of living in Ghana is so high. All the macro and microeconomic indicators in this country are so high. Today, people cannot... I heard disturbing news this morning. This morning, the government of Ghana has had to go and beg ECOWAS for 500 metric tons of cereals. That Ghana, John Mohammed's Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah's Ghana, today, we go to beg for food so that our citizens can eat. Never has this country been brought to its knees than under the leadership of Akufo-Addo. Do you remember in the last 20, 30, 40 years of this country, Ghana having to go to Togo, Nigeria, all the member states of ECOWAS begging for cereals? But today, they handed over 500 metric tons of cereals to the Minister of Agric. And this is a government that came on the back of planting for food and jobs. They said this was going to increase food production in this country, and they even went ahead to say phase 2, where there was going to be rearing for meat and honey and milk and all of that. That was the promise of this MPP. The fact that today they are on their knees, just 1 year, just one season of rain not falling enough, they've had to go on their knees to beg ECOWAS for cereals. It speaks to the failure of this government. It speaks to the failure of the Agric Minister. It speaks to the failure of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And overall, it speaks to the failure of Alhaji Bawumia. You go to the spare part dealers in Abosokai, the spare part dealers at Magazine Swami in Kumasi, all the cocoa we have in this country, and they tell you that today they cannot import into this country because the cost of importation and payment of duties are so high. My brother, that car you were able to import, not everyone in this country can import it because the cost of duties are so high, unbearably high. Come to the cost of commodities, food, and all of that. They are very, very. But on the back of this, we are situating it on the credibility of the man that represents the MPP, and this is a man that has no credibility. Recently at the festival in Cape Coast, the Afasha in Cape Coast, I saw when Alhaji Bawumia was coming, I heard people doing away because the vice president had promised them that he was going to build an airport for them and lied in their faces and failed to do that. The vice president promised that he was going to build a medical university and that he had secured funding from Saudi Arabia. He lied about that. The vice president told the people of my part of the country, the northern part of this country, that he had constructed the Palugu Dam, and that was his greatest legacy for the people of the north. That was a clear lie. So we are looking at the character of a man who lies all the time, a man who has no credibility at all. We are looking at a government that is perpetuating family and friends. So you are aware of the story of the president's daughters and their baby daddy getting a contract of $34 million in the name of servicing ambulances that are new. Several examples of corruption. Bawumia's brother secured a $100 million contract for the construction of roads. A government of family and friends. So the people of this country are aware, and their polls have been tested. They know that corruption is at an all-time high. We know the example of Pius, and he taking people out of this country and taking money from them for them to go to America and Australia and other countries and run away. He publicly said in his constituency that when he's elected MP, he will make sure they go for the World Cup in America. I hope the U.S. government heard that. The U.S. Embassy in Ghana heard that. And that speaks to the image of this MPP government. They cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted. So no poll is more effective than what the people of this country are feeling. Today, schools have just resumed. And parents, you go on social media and you see how parents are lamenting. Today, salaries cannot take anyone more than one week. You take your salary and look, the cost of utilities. So they are paying so much in prepaid, so much in electricity and water tariffs. We have never paid as much as we are paying today. Even on the issue of fuel that they say they have reduced marginally, it is just a small reduction. And today, fuel has never been as expensive as it is today in the history of this country. When you look at every metric of economic living in this country, it is so high. Now tell me, Alhaji Bawumia is on record to have said that he had arrested the dollar and thrown the key to the IGP, and that they have stabilized the dollar, and therefore it was going to be easy to do business in Ghana considering the import and export ratio and all of that. But this vice president has presided over an economic management team where today $1 is at about 16 cedis. $1 at about 16 cedis. $1 at about 16 cedis. It speaks to the failure of this government. Every metric of economic assessment, this government has failed. I know that the NDC's commitment is solid. The NDC is not complacent in any way. We are campaigning everywhere. President Mahama is currently in the BA region. He's campaigning, knocking on doors and reaching out and selling the message of hope. We are saying that on the issue of unemployment, the fact that we have over 2.1 million unemployed people in this country, it will be a thing of the past under the NDC government, because we are introducing the 24-hour economy. We're ensuring that industry should work on a 3-shift system and create more employment, produce more, generate more revenue. That is the commitment of the NDC. We're ensuring that women, who are the source of hope in most homes in this country, will be supported through the Women's Development Bank. They copied it. Well, as soon as they heard that we had announced it, they copied it. But the fact of the matter is that we believe that entrepreneurship is something we must sustain and promote. And that's why we're going to support women entrepreneurs to ensure, look, for the first time in the history of this country, we're going to have a bank that's going to be manned from the top to the bottom by women. Because we believe in the power of women. We believe in the industry of women. We believe that Serwaa, no one should ever judge you on the basis of your gender. No one should ever say because you are Serwaa Amihere and that you are a female, you cannot effectively, efficiently manage a state enterprise. No one should ever say...
Is that what the Women's Bank is about?
No, that's another point I'm making. The fact of the matter is that Serwaa should never be judged by her gender. Serwaa can be vice president of this country. That's the point we are making. And that's why we're calling on the women of this country.
Is that what the bank is about?
No, that's not what it's about.
So what is the bank about?
I have made the point about the bank, that we have a Women's Development Bank that's going to be available to provide credit for women who want to do business. That is the essence of the Women's Development Bank. But I'm also adding the point. I'm also adding the point that the Women's Development Bank will be run by women from the top to the bottom. And I'm making the overall act that there must be affirmative action. And that must be a deliberate plan, because we believe that women must be supported and promoted to thrive. And I've made a specific example that Serwaa should never be assessed purely on the basis of her gender.
Is that what is happening now?
Oh, but we know several instances where women are not supported. There are several instances.
Where?
You know several examples of women not being supported mainly because they are women.
Instances?
We have examples. You don't read the reports. There are several examples of women who are not paid just because they are women. Go to the industries. Men are paid higher than women in some roles. That's a fact.
But that has existed for years.
And that's why we must change that. That's why the NDC believes that women must be supported and elevated. Women must not be discriminated against on the basis of their gender. No, that's a different point I'm making. The bank is different. I'm making a different point on the fact that women will be supported. There will be a deliberate plan by the NDC to ensure that women are supported and promoted.
But are women saying that they are not able to access funds because they are women?
Yes.
What report says that?
The research shows that. Oh, Serwaa, the research shows that women have less access to capital and funding than men.
Which research?
Serwaa, I don't know why you are going on this banter, but do a search. It is not
a banter.
You expect me to bring the report? I didn't bring the report here, but several researches have been done. And what the experts are telling us is that women are less accessible to capital than men.
Because
that is a fact.
You know, I don't know what research you're alluding to, but the support for women, the SMEs,
yes,
you know, that area is heavily populated by women.
Yes.
Right?
The SMEs is heavily... Yes, but the fact of the matter is that women have...
So, are they saying they are not getting funding?
Yes, that's the fact. Women are less likely to get access to funding as compared to men. That's what the research shows.
So that's what you want to set up the bank for?
The bank is there to deliberately support women in this country.
What about Maslock?
Maslock will be empowered, and we are also going to do...
what?
We are going to do an integration. But you see, the point is that our difference with the MPP is that we are not just setting up businesses or setting up banks for the name of setting up banks. They have collapsed banks.
So why don't you empower Maslock
when banks,
to do what you want to do?
So the point is that when banks existed to support, they collapsed banks. So our point is that yes, Maslock will be integrated. There's going to be one body responsible for providing capital for women. That if a woman needs 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, 1 million Ghana cedis to invest in a business that is viable, the bank will be available to support the women, because we understand that women are the engine of every home. That is the belief of the NDC. Women are the engine of every home, and we will support women in a deliberate plan, in a deliberate way, that women are able to do business and thrive. That is the essence of the Women's Development Bank. That is the essence of the NDC, and that's why we presented a credible woman at the helm of our ticket. Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman comes on the record of an accomplished woman, unlike the other one who is so arrogant, unlike the other one who is so inefficient, unlike the other one who presided over Dumso, unlike the other one who is a loose talker, unlike the other one who cannot be trusted. The NDC has presented a credible person in the person of Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, and we are committed to the agenda of resetting this country and moving this country away from the era of massive corruption and nepotism. We are ensuring that the media will be independent and supported to thrive. We know there are several instances where studios have been invaded by tax of this MPP government. So are you aware of that? It will never be said that under a JM government, the media will be attacked. Of course, we know the examples of when Manasseh attacked John Mahama and his several critiques of John Mahama. But John Mahama, as compassionate, as fatherly, as loving as he is, will open his arms wide open for Manasseh. What happened in the instance of Manasseh under this MPP government? He had to run away because this MPP was looking for him to kill him.
All right. Stay with me. After the break, there's more. This is GH Today. Amihere. On the breakfast review, we're talking to Dr. Ezekiel Ejekumo. He's a member of the NPP's communications team, and Philemon La Esquire. He's a member of the NDC's communications team. And if you just joined us just before the break, we're talking about the new SBM intelligence report that is predicting victory for the NDC in 11 regions. I saw the way by the doctor that it is not a victory, but in 11 regions, it is a victory. Yes.
Yeah. So clearly, Dr. Bawumia made mention of an airport in Central Region, and the president later said he's doing some things around Central Region. So within his tenure as president, we wouldn't have an airport in Central Region. But you know what? The good thing is that Dr. Bawumia is still committed to the people of Central Region having an airport, and it's on this backdrop that a $2 billion facility has been agreed already with Korean people. And that money is already secured from next year, God willing, after Dr. Bawumia takes the wheels of this administration, this country. The people of Central Region are going to see an airport being constructed in Central Region. Funds are already secured, $2 billion, and we've expressed it in black and white in our manifesto. It is there. And it's not just the people of Central Region. We are seeking to partner with the private sector to have an airport for the people of Upper East Region as well. So it's not just the international airports we've had in Tamale. It's not just the upgrade of the Kumasi, Prempeh, the first airport. It's not just the upgrade in the Sunyani airport. Dr. Bawumia is still committed that, yes, if he once said that the good people of Central Region would have an airport, this government has already agreed a $2 billion facility, part of which is purposely for the construction of the Cape Coast Airport. And the NPP administration, under Dr. Bawumia, will deliver it. On the issue of what my brother spoke about, Ghanaians have experienced the two administrations, one that could not provide chalk for our people, one that school fees became the headache of the day, and one that came to provide free SHS, to making sure that everyone realizes God-given potential through education. One that has constructed more roads than any administration in this country. One that's committed to making sure that the entire country is connected in terms of healthcare, emergency, and deliverables at the district level. Aside the 20 hospitals constructed, in the process of constructing 111 district and regional hospitals across the country. So we can compare what was given to us under the NDC, the order of the day under the NDC, and what they gave us. If a government could not provide chalk, how can this government, if they come back again, take care of free SHS? That's why we keep telling Ghanaians that yet it will only take the NPP to protect and improve whatever we started with, and those things can be realized by Dr. Bawumia. We are not complacent with this report that puts us in the lead. If you do the mathematics and the statistical extrapolations, we are still going to make sure that we work hard. The people who are benefiting from the things the governments have done, we continue to approach them. For the first time in my village, I've seen a road being constructed. For the first time ever in my village, I've seen a road constructed with gutters. A village that does not produce anything. That ordinarily, you'd have just had some gravels being spread on our roads. For the first time, I've seen a road being done in my village. And the story is everywhere. For the first time, it's not just me coming from my village as a doctor, but free SHS has helped produce students who are now offering medicine in our public universities to add to the doctors we have from my village. That is the story of the NPP. That we give hope, we share our national cake equally, we make sure every home benefits. It's the reason why we will still continue to champion and improve upon our educational gains in this country, to making sure that everyone benefits. And to make sure that, yes, whatever the problem that this administration has faced, the next topic, if we have opportunity to go into it, we can see the country turning around. Everything is not rosary, but we are on the right track to making sure that the Ghanaian sees the improvement this administration started in our first term, and due to the unforeseeable circumstances that curtailed our development, now we are turning the corner and everything is there, black and white. The same indicators my brother pointed to, the same indicators are back to justify our claims that we are turning the corner. So we continue to preach our message to the good people of Ghana. Dr. Bawumia is there for the private sector. Dr. Bawumia is there for the ordinary Ghanaian. That person with disability can become a lawyer and a journalist like yourself, Serwaa. That person with disability can become a lawyer like my brother Philemon. That person with disability can become a doctor like myself. And Dr. Bawumia is giving hope to each and every one that after the FQ implementation by President Kufuor and free SHS by Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, if you are a person with disability, excuse my language, please, when you get the opportunity to go to school, our administration is going to make sure that you have your full educational benefit being taken care of by this country. And a host of other projects. Dr. Bawumia is the digital man, and he's promised to train 1 million Ghanaian youth in IT and related courses to give you a soft skill that will be yours forever till you depart from this world, to give you the skill that will make you employable everywhere in the world. And we will still continue to preach those messages to the good people of Ghana. And we believe that in the end, when we reach the people and we tell them our success stories and we tell them our challenges and how we want to circumvent those challenges, the Ghanaian will once again reason with the NPP and against all odds give us the victory that this research has already put us in pole position for. And we believe that with the days coming, with the number of months and days left, the extrapolation, yes, from the extrapolation of their research, if you do any statistic deduction, if you put any statistics deduction from this very pool, it tells us that with the days left, when we continue to reach the people, Dr. Bawumia continue to engage the people like he's doing, avail himself, be humble, be assertive, tell the people what you are for, admit to the challenges and how you want to circumvent those challenges. I believe that in the end, the good people of Ghana would reason with us and would give us another term to steer the affairs of the country.
All right. I'll let you have the final bites, then we can wrap up. Thank you.
Well, the fact of the matter is that we know about the EIU, which was the same body that predicted an MPP election in 2016 and 2020, has predicted that GHOne Mahama will be elected president of this country. And like I said, we are not resting our oars. We are not saying that because credible polls have said that. In fact, Musa Dankwa, Global Info Analytics, also very precise in his analysis, has also predicted a one-touch victory for the NDC. But we will keep on working because the NDC has a credible message, a message of hope, a message of resetting this country. It will never be said in the history of GHOne Mahama's government that his appointees have been involved in state capture. It will never be said. It will never be said that ministers of GHOne Mahama's government, appointees of President Mahama's government, are buying state vehicles, are buying state lands, as is the case in this MPP government. They are buying lands in cantonments, airport, all around. State capture. It was in this very studio that
do you have evidence?
It was in this studio. If you listen to the next matter, it was in this studio that a minister of this MPP government admitted right here in this studio that he had bought state land in the Upper West region. It was in this studio. This studio. So it will never be said in the NDC government because we believe in credibility. We must bring respect back to governance. It must not be said that because you are politically exposed, you must lord it over the people. Whatever they have given to you in trust, you are spending it nyafu, 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 nyafu. It must never be said. The NDC will not do that. There will be accountability. There will be transparency. I speak in a very passionate way about the babies born in mining communities with cleft lip, with various deformities as a result of the inaction of Alhaji Bawumia and Akufo-Addo in the Galamsey fight. Today, water is a problem, and Ghana is 10 steps nearer the potential of importing water because this MPP government have presided over inefficiency, gross inefficiency. Members of the MPP government are complicit in the very bad practice of Galamsey. Members of the MPP government, MPP parliamentary candidate for Joabeng, Chairman Wontumi, several MPP people involved in the menace of Galamsey. And see, the thing about Galamsey is that just a few people, the top 1%, are getting rich at the expense of you and I, Serwaa, are getting rich at the expense of the poor child from Garu Timpani or Bunkrugu, at the expense of the poor mother from Tatali. That is what the MPP is doing. And we reject that because the MPP believes that there must be a national cake for everyone. That's why the shade of the umbrella is there for everyone. My call is to the people of this country. President Mahama comes on the back of someone who has led before. Infrastructure, he will do it. Employment, he will provide it. Credibility in government, he will reintroduce it. It will never be said that President Mahama's government is a government of family and friends, as it is a case where Alhaji Bawumia's family members are benefiting from contracts. Akufo-Addo's plenty family members are benefiting from appointments and contracts. It will never be said. The people of Ghana, this is an election of destiny. Let us reset Ghana. Let's vote for GHOne Mahama. Let's vote for Professor J. Nano Opoku-Agyeman. Let's vote for the various NDC parliamentary candidates. Let's boot out this MPP corrupt government.
Thank you very much. No, thank you. Once you speak, you would have to speak. Thank you so much for... I'm not gagging you. I'm being fair.
I'm gagging you, Serwaa.
Dr. Ezekiel Lejekumobing is member of the NPP's communications team, and Philemon La Esquire is a member of the NDC's communications team. Thank you, gentlemen. Stay with us. After the break, there's more.
Welcome back to GH Today here on GHOne TV. Thank you very much for tuning in. Just gone by the breakfast review segment. There's still a whole lot more to come up here on GH Today, and we're very happy that you're still tuned in. Our next conversation has got to do with the second edition of the She Triumph Conference. And we're very, very excited to have the chief visionary driver of the She Triumph Conference here in the studio. And we're excited to speak to her. I'm very, very happy because the first She Triumph Conference was a big success. We're looking forward to having an even more successful one this time around. Mrs. Deborah Bokete Saki.
Taki.
Taki?
Yes.
Yes, Taki. Bokete Taki. Good morning to you.
Morning, dear. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm great.
It's been a year already.
Yes.
Wow. Wow.
Almost a year.
Almost a year.
Let's say a week to a year.
So for those who don't know about the She Triumph Conference, give us a little bit of a background.
Okay, so She Triumph Conference is actually a women empowerment event that we use to empower, motivate, and mentor young girls from different sectors. And we have training sectors, mentorship, and basically, let's say, you know, every woman has a scar, a story to share, a story to motivate or uplift someone. If you've not heard anyone's story, you don't know what the person is going through.
Yeah.
So Debbie Queen Productions, which is the mother brand, thought of how do we come about to help rise women. And though there are a lot of conferences, we sort of channel ours in a different way,
right,
so that it will not be the normal conference where you go and then there's a panel discussion and you finish, then that is all. Ours is unique. We'll delve into it, I'm sure, whilst we are going into the questions.
But for last year, what was it like?
It was an overflow.
Yeah.
What we were expecting, we were actually expecting a number of like around 350, and we had like 500 or more, and it was massive. The response, it was the maiden edition, the first. We were not expecting Ghanaians to accept it the first time like that. Okay, we were expecting, would they come, would they not come, would they show up, how are they going to accept this new thing? Because you know, in Ghana, when something comes up new, it's a bit tough to know, okay, is it going to work or not? And Ghanaians really showed love. It shows that there are a lot of things that women want to learn, women want to be open for, and we are here to do more.
So who are the conveners of the conference?
So Debbie Queen Productions, which of course I'm the lead. We have the board, the team that are working behind the scenes, and we are super excited for this second edition. Okay,
before we even get to the details of the second edition, let's talk about the impact that the last edition, had. Of course, this is something which is focused on women, or should I say, it's focused on ladies, right? So what has been the impact of it? You talked about the overflow of people who came in and how it was just amazing to see all of these beautiful, women and men.
Yeah. we had men do
attend the She Triumph Conference. So what has been the impact?
Okay, so last year when I came here, I did mention that it's not just going to be a conference. After the conference, we rolled out applications to train women for free in skill training. So we had photography session, we have baking and sugar craft, we have makeup artistry, we have braiding, we have balloon decor. We have sponsors that actually facilitated this program for the women to enjoy free skill training.
Right.
When you have your own skills, no one can take it from you. It can help you go far in life. So the impact is actually great. These students or ladies that have actually triumphed in their training will be graduating on the second edition happening. So it's going to be a conference, and we are going to be showing the ladies their progress so far. We'll be graduating them. And one unique thing is that one lady, after pitching, they are going to be pitching for a seed fund. So their business idea, what they've learned so far, they are going to showcase to the panel of judges, and then they talk about what they are going to do with the seed fund. And the seed fund is being funded by Omani Royals all the way from Canada.
Wow, that's beautiful stuff. So the impact is beginning to shape up. and we're very excited about that. So, getting into the second edition, is there a different theme, for the second edition? Is there a different reason behind it? Give us the details.
So, last year's theme was powerful. This one is super powerful. We are talking about the resilience and determination of womanhood. When a woman is resilient and a woman is determined, even in the house, when a woman wants to go in for something, just give a woman a chance and she's just going to fire up or blow up the place for you. You see, even God in his own mindset saw it that it's not good for Adam to be alone, and therefore created Eve. You see,
out of Adam.
Yes, out of Adam. That's why men, we are not leaving you out, you see. But you see, though you men are the head, we are the neck. Can you turn without your neck? You see.
Well, nowadays, nowadays they said if you say that, you're a bit. They said now we are equals.
Yes, of course we are equals.
So,
but if a woman is with you,
people don't want to hear the head and neck.
Even the Bible says that if you find a woman,
it's more important than the head. In many instances.
Exactly.
Because if there is no neck,
exactly,
where would the head?
Exactly, be? And we are your neck.
Yeah.
So we are talking about the determination and resilience of womanhood. So just be rest assured that on that day, you are going to be hearing from different speakers that are coming on board. We have our special guest speaker, who is in the person of Reverend Mrs. Josephine Pearl Fusukwachi, founder of Light of Dominion Ministries. She's coming to empower us. She's going to talk about her topic, which is the resilience and determination of womanhood. We have Madam Doris Eje from Zulayon Sectors. We have Nancy Amrado from AT, formerly known as Airtel Tigo. And then we have Adiza Ibrahim, whom we all know from NASCO. And then we have Gifty Anan, the youngest of all. So if you can see, we have a bit of corporate, a bit of entrepreneurship, a bit of the youth in there. So it's a mixture. Wherever you fall, just come on the day and then you see. And we have our special guest of honor, Queen Vicky Lester from Omani Royal. She's coming all the way from Canada with her entourage.
Beautiful stuff. So who will come, or who is allowed to attend and be a part of this?
You are allowed to attend.
Are you sure?
Yes, you are allowed. We had males coming in last year, and this year too, they are not left out. Everyone, so far as you are open to learn. The whole thing is you are going to be networking. There is going to be mentorship session. You are going to be learning a skill plus the seed fund. After the second edition, we are definitely going to enroll another application out so that we can train more women for free. So if you come on that day, you'll be hearing the details on how to go about it. Right. If you stay in the house, you will not be able to get a lot of information. You can be on our social media pages, but you will not get that information, unlike if you are there present to witness it. So everyone, if you're a woman and you are looking out to shine, you are looking out to be impacted, you are looking out to be motivated, you've had a lot of dreams or visions in your mind and you don't know how to go about it, what to do in your life, She Triumph Conference is the best place for you.
The best place. So let's talk about where it's happening, when it's happening, how people can get in and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so it's being hosted by Lantam. They are our venue host. Lantam Royal Beach Hotel, our venue sponsor. It's on the 28th of September. That is next week, Saturday. Red carpet and exhibition is starting at 11 to 12. The main event is starting exactly at 1.
Right.
No Ghana time, exactly at 1.
No GMT.
No.
1 p.m. is 1 p.m.
Yes, 1 p.m. is 1 p.m.
Yeah.
That's why we've given from 11 to 12. So that at least even if the traffic is going to delay you or something, you can get there by 1. You are calm, you are relaxed, and then we kickstart. Okay. So it's happening on the 28th of September at Lantam Royal Beach Hotel.
28th September, Lantam Royal Beach Hotel. The She Triumph Conference.
Elevating today's woman to shine.
Elevating today's woman
to shine.
To shine. And the theme is the resilience and determination of womanhood. That is for the second edition, right? Awesome. Brilliant stuff. So, I mean, what would you say finally as we're wrapping this up?
Okay. So, I was given the opportunity by someone, and today I am where I am today. So, I'm also giving opportunity. Let's say my team and my sponsors, my able sponsors, the official sponsor is HM Life Mr. the CEO of Dr. Emmanuel Bokete, CEO of Charger Limited. We have Body by Blondie, a lot of sponsors. Pounds what is sponsoring, and of course our venue sponsor La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. So please, anyone watching me, if you are a young girl, upcoming, whatever you have in your mind, please try to be at the Sea Triumph Conference next week Saturday, which is 28th of September. Come learn something for yourself. Come network. Meet a lot of mentors that are going to help you in your life, that is going to transform with your own growth.
Brilliant stuff. You've heard from the Queen herself, Debbie Queen.
Yeah.
Mrs. Deborah Bokete Taki.
Yes.
Yes, and it's been great having you in the studio
Thank
again.
you. Thank
so
you.
We're
for
looking
having
forward.
me.
We're looking forward to the
I hope I'm seeing you again.
Oh yeah. We'll be there. We'll be there definitely. To of course. I mean, without the women, we are nothing. We are absolutely nothing. We need you.
We also need you.
We can't function without you.
Exactly.
So we'll be there to see you triumph.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us here in the studio. You're still watching GH Today. We'll be right back.
One day.
Thursday, and on Thursdays here we like to throw back. We have another conversation coming up with the Young Professionals Business Network, and my guests in the studio, Mr. Emmanuel Boahing. He's a debt and capital restructuring expert. Mr. Boahing, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, and it's great to have you here in the studio.
Thank
and Mrs. Jolie Hajo.
Yes, please.
Is also here in the studio. She's an HR consultant. Good morning, and you're welcome.
Good morning. Thank you.
And thank you very much for joining us here in the studio. So let's begin by understanding the Young Professionals Business Network and what this network is all about.
Okay, so the Young Professionals Business Network is a community of business professionals, individuals, entrepreneurs, and anybody who wants to go into the business sector, who has an idea and is searching for a community of people where your solutions can be solved at a one-stop stand. Yeah, so that's basically what the whole business network is about. We are giving a one-stop solution to anybody who wants to nurture his entrepreneurship idea and bring his whole thought to a place where he can have a community of people to understand him. So that is basically what the Young Professional Business Network is all about.
Can anyone who is aspiring to be an entrepreneur, is already an entrepreneur or business person, be a part, and a young person be a part of the network?
Yes, anybody can be part. And our definition of a young person is not about age. It's about idea. It's about concept. It's about your thought pattern. Yeah.
So it's not like there's an age limit.
No,
say young people are between 18 and 35.
No, our definition of age is the ability to think, reason, and also think in terms of creating solution, creating business, and employing people. That's a definition for young.
So how long has the network been in existence and operating?
Yes, we've
impact.
We've been in existence from 2022. We did our maiden launching in 2023 December at the KLS event at Trasako. And ever since then, we've had series of events bringing young people together, nurturing visions, pushing boundaries, funding people, giving people the necessary leverage for them to build their businesses.
So let's talk about some of the events, that you've had, since the inception.
Okay. So first of all, we had our official launch in December 2023 at Trasako, where we recorded approximately a total number of 300 to 350 registered members.
Wow.
We had renowned speakers, Ibrahim Mahama. We had Nanama McBrown, Dr. Kofi Amwabin coming to speak to us about how to elevate your business. And then after us, we had our first general meeting on the 18th of January at the British Council. Yeah, we also recorded approximately a total number of 400 to 450 registered members. Then secondly, we also had another event at Coconut Grove Hotel where we spoke about investment. It's also all about investment pitching, where people had to come to pitch their ideas to investors. We had a lot of investors there that are ready to fund their businesses. So people came to pitch their ideas and all that, where some were given some funds to start their business. We also had another program, another event, which was all about political mentorship, which was held at
Wesley
Towers, yeah, on, I think it was in July. Yeah, we had some of the politicians coming to speak to the young people about how to enter into politics. So basically, those were the events we've had so far. We also had an online event which talks about multiple streams of income.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So you've been doing all of these amazing events,
yes,
right?
Please,
so you have another upcoming one.
Yes, please.
And what is next? What is next, and who can be a part of it?
Yes, so what we're doing on this coming Saturday, the 21st of September, is we are doing a health walk, and it's basically business on the move. We are bringing all the young entrepreneurs together. Come, let's walk. While you are taking a walk, you are exercising, you are making networking, you are contacting people, you are telling people about your business, you are pitching your business idea. From there, we are moving from aviation center to airport roundabout, back to the aviation center. We have a very fantastic aerobic time. After that, we have a lot of celebrities on board. While they are there, you are networking. Talk to people. As at now, currently, I'm checking now, we have more than 194 people who have registered to display their product. You have product exhibition.
Wow.
Come and show whatever you're doing to the whole world. After that, you still have the chance to talk to investors who are still available. So it's a health walk, it's a business network, and it's also an opportunity for you to exercise. We have more than now 15 medical doctors, more than 35 nurses who will be on standby to give free medical checkup, free health consultancy and advice to anybody who wants to be on board. Yes, sir.
Right, so it's happening this Saturday, right?
This Saturday.
And
yes.
what time is it starting?
6 a.m. on the dot.
6 a.m. on the dot.
6 a.m.
And where are we starting from?
Aviation Center. Aviation Social Center.
So by 6 a.m.?
By 6 a.m. we are there.
And anyone can be a part?
Anyone can be part. Anybody who wants to be part can be there. Yes.
Okay, all right. Very well. We'll look forward to it. Is there anything that we'll add before we wrap this up?
Oh, okay. So basically, as you said, everybody can join. Any profession you find yourself in, whether you're a carpenter, you're a plumber, you qualify to be part of this network. So we want to entreat you all to be part. There's this philosopher that said that your wealth is your health. So if your health fails, your wealth has also failed. Yes, imagine you are weak, you can't do anything, you are lying on the hospital bed. That means your health has failed. You can't even think about that idea, that vision for it to materialize. So that is why he says your health is your wealth, and I totally agree with him. So I'm entreating all of you to come. Let us burn some fat so that we can all do this work together to exhibit our products, so that we can connect with each other, exchange contacts, and build a strong network. Thank you.
All right, thank you too for telling us about this, and I think it's very important that people get to hear about this and be a part of it as well. So Emmanuel and Jolie, thank you very much.
You're welcome
for joining us here in the studio. You're still watching GH Today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Watching GH today here on GH1 television, and our next conversation is about a whole lot of things, right? A whole lot of things, because the man that we have here in the studio is a man whom you can talk to about a whole lot of things. But at the end of the day, it's about the interest of the country and where the country is headed and the right things that need to be done for this country to, how do I describe it? When they say it's in local parlance, for this country to actually prosper. I'm very honored this morning and happy, excited to have in the studio with me Oliver Barker Vomao. Good morning.
Good morning. I hope you're doing well yourself.
Yes, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
It's another day in this republic. But health-wise, I'm in good health, strong energy. So I'm excited about what tomorrow brings.
Yeah, you're supposed to be going to court.
Yeah.
Because you've been charged with treason, right?
Yes, I have.
Trying to overthrow the government.
Yes. I mean, the good thing is that it's the longest coup non-trial I've ever seen in this republic. So maybe there's a good there. That, I was charged somewhere in 2021.
Yes.
And in 2022, so in 2024, the trial hasn't even started. The prosecution refuses to show up. We have gone to the Supreme Court to compel the prosecution to come to court. That's how ridiculous it is for some persons who seriously believe that, there's an intention to overthrow. What's the short man? At Jolobi House. So it's strange.
You're talking about the president.
There you go. I always keep
You're talking about our president.
His
Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa.
It's a strange thing that we use. The word excellence is not a constitutional term.
No, it's not. But
it's not. But
we say to accord them with respect and reverence.
But we also say in our culture that respect is earned. It's strange, but yeah, there's a lot of inherent.
But has he not earned respect?
The president?
Yeah, by virtue of the fact that he's a president of the country. He was elected through a democratic process.
No, I don't think that constitutional
majority of the voting population believe that he's a man who should lead us, and so he's there. That alone should give him.
I don't think that constitutional framework thought of it that way. I think that they've always thought that whoever comes into the office and excel in the role deserves our support and respect. And when the person fails in that we must speak up against that. That's the ultimate fight against oppression that they urge us to in our national anthem. What does it mean, right? To speak with brutal honesty and fearless honesty, we say. And fearless honesty is that he has not exactly covered himself with glory. And this is, for instance, one of the reasons where we are stepping out on the street on the protest, which we're going to be talking about soon, that this is an individual who claims to have put his presidency on the line. By that language, I understand that this is something that he's willing to give up if he has failed, when he fails in the role. He has absolutely failed in the role, but it's a regime where words have no meaning, where truth has no resonance, right? And so there's no strong commitment to anything we say and we get by. And gradually people have even lost faith in how people speak, and when the regime promises you something that you are doubtful of it, there's no haircut and they cut your head off. Like things like that, we consistently have undermined our ability to believe in the responsibility, in the leadership of those who have put there. They're anything but excellent in that role.
You talk about he saying he put his presidency on the line. A lot of people who communicate for government say he actually did put his presidency on the line because he did start a fight against illegal mining, and it began to yield some results. And even as a result of that, in a lot of the mining areas, that's been the argument. In a lot of the mining areas, when you look at the presidential results, you'd realize that the president lost in those areas because of the fight against illegal mining. And so he did put his presidency on the line.
If he did in fact put his presidency on the line, I think that his communicators would not need to be the ones telling us. We would know it ourselves. You don't need to communicate a fact that is notorious, right? The fact that you have to speak tells you that something is not right. I've never seen anybody stand up every day and try to convince Ghanaians that this land we are on is Ghana. It's such a notorious fact that it doesn't bear communicating to us. So if we have somebody who has shown leadership in the office on this environmental crisis, we will not be in a situation where Ghana Water is telling us that they are not able to give us water because the waters are being poisoned. Before he put his presidency on the line, we hadn't gotten to that crisis point. Here we are. There's no single community across this country where irresponsible mining has ceased. Absolutely not. So I don't see where it's happening. We can communicate whatever we want, but the reality doesn't back up that communication. And that's a challenge. But that has become the stock in trade. Because when you have a situation whereby, for the vast majority of times, there are no consequences. There are no constitutional consequences, there are no administrative consequences, there are no law enforcement consequences to anything. Then nothing happens, right? So whether or not you steal, you hide $1 million under your bed, or you do whatever it is, there are no consequences. And that is the conversation we want to move up, that we can cry all the cry we want around Galamsey and all of that, but unless there's consequences and accountability, then nothing would happen. And our reality demonstrates that in so many times that we've let things go, nothing changes.
Recently, we've seen some actions being taken. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister has been talking about some of the things that government has been doing and is doing to deal with Galamsey. We've seen a 5-member committee set up, led by the Minister responsible for national security. Organized labor has made some demands. Very recently, they had a meeting with organized labor, and a whole host of other things. Now we have, security personnel beginning to go into some of these Galamsey areas to go and try and apprehend and arrest some of the people who are engaged in illegal mining and all of that. So we're beginning to see some action being taken. That's a good thing, isn't it?
Once you come to understand the craft of a crafty regime, you see gestures for what they are. And so consistently, what has the president told us? He's told us, for instance, when we go back to when COVID happened, right? The Minister of Health, who says that he wasn't thinking, and so you're breaching our procurement rules. The president said, I just told him to go on vacation, Ghanaians will talk and forget. They have mastered the art of gestures, meaningless gestures. So he started with the Minister of Lands. He talked about what we've been doing. Then they didn't do anything. So UTAG and others said that, we're going on the demonstration. Then quickly they put together a committee to come and talk to them. Right? Who has been arrested since this has started? These conversations has happened. Of all the people, and the fourth stage is this an expose of the embedded levels of politically exposed persons who are incorporating all kinds of mining companies, the network of persons who have started mining activities in forest reserves. Not a single person, not a single license has been cancelled. Not a single person has been arrested. Not a single person who have watched on that route for a government that did nothing for 8 years is telling us that have set up a 3-member or 4-member committee to come and sit there and do it. So we haven't seen that happen. And I think that if we get distracted by these gestures, we would wake up tomorrow, and then I think that we will all be applying for licenses to import water from Togo.
Is the conversation visible enough or audible enough, especially in the lead up to elections? We've got barely 3 months to go before do you feel that it's beginning to take proper prominence in the discourse, in the political discourse, or it's becoming, an issue that people are concerned about when they are going to choose someone they want to vote for?
Well, the truth is that we haven't developed the historical discipline of bringing other voices other than the political parties the closer we get into the election. Every coverage and everything becomes about the political parties and what they are doing. And in fact, no civic group in our history, non-partisan affiliated, has organized a critical protest so close to elections ever in our history as we are doing. What we are trying to do is that we want to reset back the questions that have been important to us back on the table. So 2 main things are driving the conversation. The consistent demand for constitutional reforms that we have paid lip service to for 30 years. It's one of the conversations which is animating the protest. And the demand for urgent action on this environmental crisis. We want to put that back on the table, that will be agitating people's mind when they are quizzing and interrogating those who are presenting themselves for leadership. In fact, the main leader of the government, the vice president, has appointed Mreku Duka. Just take a 5-minute drive through the western region, and every single person will tell you about the number of mining leases and mining sites connected to this gentleman. Their own intelligence reports know that he is involved, but yet he's been appointed the vice president's main lead person to advise him on the same problem. So I am always baffled by how many times we elect the disease as cure. And so we can engage the conversation, and I'm grateful for the conversation we are having now, that other people then can begin to rethink what is most critical to us in this conversation going to elections. It is not vacuous and meaningless terms like reset, upgrade, up, down, put off, on, off. Like none of that matters. Let us engage into the critical conversations. If you look at all the manifestos, none of them have presented a roadmap to solving the environmental crisis. None of them.
I mean, we recently heard the Vice President talk about engaging the Geological Survey to do the prospecting, map out all the deposits of gold that we have, so that when licenses are being given to people, you don't now have to go and do prospecting, and under the guise of doing prospecting, you're actually destroying the lands and not reclaiming and doing. So he's talking about streamlining mining activities. So these are some of the things that he's saying. Now, of course, we've heard the former President Mahama also, talk about a few things that will be done when he's also given the nod.
You know what's funny? In 2017, I was working in one of the largest law firms and law and policy firms in Washington, D.C. And GIPC boss, then Yofi Grant, and the trade minister now who's resigning and running for office, were at an Africa summit, which we had helped organize, where the map they projected there in terms of selling Ghana was showing people all the mineral deposits in Ghana and telling investors to invest. 2016. Nobody can tell us that we do not know till date where the most concentrated mining reserves are. When people are prospecting, what they are doing is that they are seeing whether commercial viability of quantity, not whether or not reserves exist. So that, again, we have to interrogate some of these things they say and then get away with more critically. So we've always known where the hotspots are in the country, and no commercial investor has ever gone to start digging anywhere else. The conversation we are having now is about freezing the rampant digging. So I'm expecting a conversation around environmental protection, not geological survey to show more mining digging areas. That's what we are asking for. In fact, organized labor has called for a complete ban on mining. It's a call that I support holistically, because we need to freeze what is happening to take stock.
We've done that before, have we not? There was a ban on small-scale mining activities, right? For about 2 years, or so, there was a complete ban, and we began to see, some results. And we were told there's a roadmap for bringing it back on board, and so we are streamlining the activities. We are procuring drones, we are training people at UMAT, we are doing community mining, we are giving people alternative sources of livelihood. All of these things, would we not be...
Let me tell you about that roadmap.
Reinventing the wheel.
Let me tell you about that roadmap. Again, gestures. Because we allow them to get away with the talk. Within 2 years, we've issued over 1,061 small-scale mining licenses across the country. Incrementally.
That's a very significant
incrementally. The districts across the country are supposed to have a list of all those who engage in small-scale mining. Our right to information request shows that none of them has any type of that information. Recently, I was involved in trainings of communities to mobilize communities to be watchdogs around irresponsible mining, to gather evidence and things like that, with Arusha Ghana and Nature and Development Fund supported by the EU. Entirely across the country, the communities are telling us that there's really no difference between what we are calling small-scale or licensed mining and what we call galamsey, because it's the same practices. What has happened is that persons who are committed to the regime have then given themselves a veneer of legality over what they are doing, but that there are really no processes in place. Nobody can tell you today that what environmental accounts they have been able to take stock of in terms of small-scale mining across the country. There is none. There is none. In fact, a couple of days ago, the funny thing is I was driving across on the Konongo Road. In Konongo, do you know what they've done? They've boarded they've used by the side of the road.
They've used some roofing sheets to...
You've seen it as well. What are they hiding?
I don't know whether they are trying to hide it or... No, but it's very visible. When
it's very visible. And nobody can tell you that you've not seen it.
It can't be hidden. It's right there by the road.
So there's no... we can dress up a monkey and call it I don't know what, and it will still be an orangutan.
Let's talk about the protest, right? And you've talked about, the two main reasons for the protest. We're talking about what you've always been preaching. The constitution is problematic, and there needs to be a change. And Kalamse, give us there were some hurdles that you had to overcome before. Finally you are embarking on the protest.
Well, as far as we're concerned, there's a hurdle in their minds only. Because we were clear that as long as we have complied with the constitutional and legal regime that exists, the law says give the police at least 5 days notice. We gave them 3 months notice. Because we did not want any argument. In fact, mind you, since the last Occupy Jolobi House protest, we've gotten 4 injunctions from the courts against the protest. We were anticipating an injunction from the courts again. But we had said that we were not going to respect any unconstitutional injunction this time. And whether injunction or not, we'll step out and protest. So when they went and got an injunction, and the immediate reaction and statement we issued was that whether you've got an injunction or not, we are going to show up. Because this crisis is beyond these petty injunctions that you cook up every now and then, 2 days to a demonstration, and people listen to you. And I think that when they saw the resolve of the people, they decided that close in the evening, to go and release a statement claiming that, they are going to show up and they are going to help maintain law and order at the planned protest.
Yeah.
Now, we are actually very interested in what happens, because it's so ridiculous, we don't know what is happening. And perhaps there's going to be another about 10, who knows. But the ridiculousness is that the police have obtained an injunction. We haven't been served with it yet. We heard it on radio. They have a copy. So they are going to then go against their own injunction. In fact, they will be committing contempt as they show up there. So we don't know what is going to happen. We are sure we are going to show up. But as to the ridiculousness corner they have backed themselves into, we don't know. So maybe they're going to seek legal advice as to how they go about it. But we are going to be there.
But let's talk about the modalities of the protest.
Yes.
When it's happening. What's the clarion call? To people out there to be a part of this protest. All of that.
Yeah.
Give us the details.
We're calling on every person who understands the urgency of the environmental crisis, that is irresponsible mining, to turn up and demand accountability. Calls have been made for ban on mining, but we have to understand that without a true commitment from the highest level, it is not going to work. And that begins with, why haven't we held people accountable so far? So we've demanded the resignation of the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the Minister for Environment, the heads of the foreign living institutions, Minerals Commission, Forestry, and the EPA. That unless there's a holistic step, like they ought to step down themselves, that would make people appreciate how we have failed environmentally. And that's what we're asking for. Let's take accountability and then engage people who are not part of the problem towards finding solutions. If that doesn't happen, more gestures, more things to buy time and get into an election so that the noise can die down so we can get our vote. That's the gestures you're going to be seeing. And they're going to make a lot more noise about, we held meeting with them, but not that we stopped anything. So that's what we're asking people to do. Show up Saturday. It is between Saturday to Monday.
Right.
Saturday is Nkrumah's birthday. Monday is a holiday. It's a holiday weekend. Come with groups of friends. Make it a group activity.
So it's a 4-day protest.
It's a 3-day.
Three-day protest.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, Monday. Yeah.
So show up for these days. We're going to, like the last protest, we organized political education groups. We're going to discuss, the Constitution, our role as citizens, our duties, what we can do to be able to push the conversation to make it educational. That's what we're going to be committed to doing. We show up at 37 Church Station. We take a small walk to the Revolutionary Square, where we are all camping, which is opposite Julobi House. And then we're going to stay there for the 3 days among conversations among ourselves and speaking, and people having a chance to voice out the ways in which we ought to take urgent action, particularly as we're heading into an election.
So on Saturday, 37.
Yes,
Church
Station.
And at what time?
So by 6 a.m. we are already there.
Okay.
We anticipate that most people will show up by 8 a.m.
Right.
And then we take the walk, and then we start activities that we are rolling out.
Right. So is there a petition that you want to present?
Fix the Country and Democracy Hub. It's never been our style to do petition.
Yeah.
Historically, we have always believed that the issues we are talking about, the media is going to be there. They're going to project these people's voices. You're going to hear them. You're going to read on them on social media. What more than a paper where you're going to do a photo op opportunity and then go and throw it away do? We don't add to that unnecessary fanfare around protest. The protest is the issues. It's people's voices. We cannot even summarize the entirety and the beauty of people's voices into a paper anyway. So hear it with them and hear it authentically as it's being streamed to you. There's no better petition than that.
So in the aftermath of the protest, what would you expect?
Well, there's a groundswell that is building, right? So we see the civil society organization issuing statements and talking about it. Now, our protests appeal to which category of people the most? Young people. And these young people are the persons whose future is the most at stake, right, in this conversation. And so we are trying to bring in an important player into the conversation. That this process of then engaging them allows for them to disseminate the conversation and continue to keep that groundswell till action is taken. So it is building momentum on the demands we are making for reform. So it's not the end, it's rather the beginning of a strong push and demand. It's not going to be the last such of actions. In fact, our law firm has just filed an action against the Ministry of Environment, the Minister for Environment, the EPA, all the institutions we've talked about, to pause mining in forest reserve. So there's a whole list of activities that together with choice, with civil society, we are taking to emphasize the urgency of the climate and environmental issue.
All right. We'll have to end our conversation here. Unfortunately, we don't have more time.
But you've enjoyed it,
yes, obviously. I wish we had more time to get into a few other issues, but unfortunately we don't, and so we have to end it here. Oliver Barker Vomawa, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And we wish you all the best in the protest. Of course, we'll definitely be there to cover and to make sure that the voices that have been spoken are heard. And in your upcoming trial, we wish you all the best too.
If it does come up, because it never comes up, this trial.
So this is where we'll end this conversation. But of course, we've got the birthday wishes that we have to do right before we wrap up the GH Today here on GH1 TV. So we'll take a look at that pretty shortly. Charlie. Time will allow us to do this morning here on GH1 Television and GH Today. We're wrapping it up here. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow with a Friday edition of the show. My name is Lantam Papanko, and of course, I've done this with my co-host Serwaa Amihere, and expect us again tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.